Alien bodies that have been showcased, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid right off and
Alien
say,
bodies
for the
have been
record,
showcased.
I would not be
Let's go to
making this
Mexico.
video. This was some random, channel that discussed this, some 4chan post. No, today, I'm going to read you the headline, okay? Mexico's Congress displays alien corpses believed to be 1,000 years old. Live streams hearing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a live stream that was hosted by Mosan TV. For those of you who don't know who this individual is, Jaime Mosan is a ufologist, a Mexican journalist, a television personality. Some would say this man is a conspiracy theorist, but this is a nearly 4-hour broadcast where I'm not joking with you. They showcased alien bodies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to understand, I'm going to start off by saying, okay, this is like a 10 times, this is like 1,000,000 times more than what we saw last 2 months with David Grush. A lot of these UFOs popping around. This isn't like a UFO that we're discussing could potentially exist. No, this is allegedly alien bodies. Let's actually look at the footage today.
Los análisis de carbono 14. Estos seres tienen alrededor de 1,000 años de antigüedad.
Guys, that is little male. Goddamn ET. Eyes, nose, mouth, toothpaste, and all. Now, obviously, the bodies are pretty mummified, as you can tell, but this is being shown 12 September 2023 in the Mexican Congress. So an actual government, a governmental body showcasing what they believe to be alien bodies over 1,000 years old.
Es decir, no se trata de seres que fueron recuperados, en millones estaban sepultados.
They got them in a whole coffin and everything, ladies and gentlemen. I assume these bodies were exhumed just to showcase. This is what the Mexican government was sitting on. So yeah, they've got 2 bodies, one in this casket, one in this one. And they were not afraid to show live dead bodies of Alamau species. Now, of course, they released some slides today in the Mexican, stream as well, too. So you can see the head over here. Kind of resembles the average gray alien, okay? They've got these big circular, almost like quarter eyes, these quarter, it looks like actual currency. And then, of course, you've got a mouth the size of, yay big, okay? So, obviously, visually, these Alamaus can stare to the heavens, but they can't eat more than the size of a Tic Tac, apparently. So, of course, even beyond that, they also released what appears to be this skeletal body of an Alamau. So you can see that they've got what appears to be a spring. What do they call those slinkies? All right, the things you throw down the staircase. They got slinkies for a torso. Absolutely minimal skeletal structure. 3 fingers, 3 toes, and that's it. Okay. And I don't know if I have to blur this out, but they've got aluminum titties almost. Wild shit. Wild stuff, dude. I can't believe I'm actually making this video. I can't believe that this is a video that I'm making. It's so outlandish. So, of course, I don't know what the hell this is. It appears to be the alien, organs inside. So maybe a stomach, a lung over here. For all we know, these could be 3. These appear to be alien organs, okay? In underneath the slinky. Or they could actually just be eggs, according to one of these reports too. One of the aliens was shown. Experts say one of the bodies had eggs inside. If that's the case, we've got at least 3 alien bodies prepping to go. But I don't know how long that's going to happen because they've been dead for over 1,000 years, allegedly. Jesus Christ. This is insane. Maybe they have 3 stomachs. Maybe they have 3 kidneys. Maybe these are livers. Or maybe it's a whole new organ that we've just never discovered as a species. Now, of course, there were a few individuals who actually translated what these Mexican officials said. And we're going to read this together just so we can understand exactly what was going on during this briefing. So far, the Pentagon has not agreed to release this information, okay, and allow congressmen I assume the Pentagon is probably something. Oh, that's the United States Pentagon. The information and allow Congress to witness these biological remains here. Today we are going to present two beings that were recovered in Peru in a Daitama mine. They are dry bodies found. Between the cities of Palpa and Nazca in 2017 that have been deeply investigated. So these bodies aren't exactly new. It's not like they dug them up fresh. These were dry bodies that were located all the way back from 2017, which makes me wonder why they were brought up here. But I guess they were investigated by investigative journalists and scientists who are here today are going to make known of some of their extraordinary conclusions. So, according to them, this body over here, the conclusion that they have, we are going to discover this moment these bodies, according to scientists, are going to declare here are beings, not this, some 4chan post. No, today, I'm going to read you the headline, okay? Mexico's Congress displays alien corpses believed to be 1,000 years old. Live streams hearing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a live stream that was hosted by Mosan TV. For those of you who don't know who this individual is, Jaime Mosan, anthropologist, a Mexican journalist, a television personality. Some would say this man is a conspiracy theorist, but this is a nearly 4-hour broadcast where I'm not joking with you. They showcased alien bodies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to understand, I'm going to start off by saying, okay, this is like a 10 times, this is like a million times more than what we saw last 2 months with David Grush. A lot of these UFOs popping around. This isn't like a UFO that we're discussing could potentially exist. No, this is allegedly alien bodies. Let's actually look at the footage today.
Los análisis de carbono 14. Estos seres tienen alrededor de 1000 años de antigüedad.
Guys, that is a little male. Goddamn ET. Eyes, nose, mouth, tooth, face, and all. Now, obviously, the bodies are pretty mummified, as you can tell, but this is being shown 12 September 2023 in the Mexican Congress. So an actual government, a governmental body showcasing what they believe to be alien bodies over 1,000 years old.
No se trata de seres que fueron recuperados, en millones estaban sepultados.
They got them in a whole coffin and everything, ladies and gentlemen. I assume these bodies were exhumed just to showcase. This is what the Mexican government was sitting on. So yeah, they've got two bodies, one in this casket, one in this one. And they were not afraid to show live dead bodies of an Alemão species. Now, of course, they released some slides today in the Mexican, stream as well.
One was on my backside.
The head over here kind of resembles the average gray alien. Okay, they've got these big circular, almost like quarter eyes. These quarter, it looks like actual currency. And then, of course, you've got a mouth the size of yay big. Okay, so obviously, visually, these Alemãos can stare to the heavens, but they can't eat more than the size of a Tic Tac, apparently. So, of course, even beyond that, they also released what appears to be this skeletal body of an Alemão. So you can see that they've got what appears to be a spring. What do they call those? Slinkies? All right, the things you throw down the staircase. They got slinkies for a torso. Absolutely minimal skeletal structure. 3 fingers, 3 toes, and that's it. Okay. And I don't know if I have to blur this out, but they've got aluminum titties almost. Wild shit. Wild stuff, dude. I can't believe I'm actually making this video. I can't believe that this is a video that I'm making. It's so outlandish. So, of course, I don't know what the hell this is. It appears to be the alien, organs inside. So maybe a stomach, a lung over here. For all we know, these could be 3... These appear to be alien organs, okay, in underneath the slinky. Or they could actually just be eggs, according to one of these reports too. One of the aliens was shown. Experts say one of the bodies had eggs inside. If that's the case, we've got at least 3 alien bodies prepping to go. But I don't know how long that's going to happen because they've been dead for over 1,000 years, allegedly. Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to wait.
This is insane. Maybe they have 3 stomachs. Maybe they have 3 kidneys. Maybe these are livers, or maybe it's a whole new organ that we've just never discovered as a species. Now, of course, there were a few individuals who actually translated what these Mexican officials said. And we're going to read this together just so we can understand exactly what was going on during this briefing. So far, the Pentagon has not agreed to release this information, okay, and allow congressmen. I assume the Pentagon is probably something, oh, that's the United States Pentagon. The information and allow Congress to witness these biological remains here. Today we are going to present two beings that were recovered in Peru in a diatom mine. They are dry bodies found. Between the cities of Palpa and Nazca in 2017 that have been deeply investigated. So these bodies aren't exactly new. It's not like they dug them up fresh. These were dry bodies that were located all the way back from 2017, which makes me wonder why they were brought up here, but I guess they were investigated by investigative journalists and scientists who are here today are going to make known of some of their extraordinary conclusions. So, according to them, this body over here, the conclusion that they have, we are going to discover that some of these bodies, according to scientists, we're going to declare here are beings, not humans. Obviously, it doesn't look like it's a human being. If it is, it's some weird evolution of humanity right there. But according to back to the statement over here, they are not part of our terrestrial evolution, and that after they disappear, so it appears to be that their DNA, that these things are not any known species. So, of course, in this situation, they're not necessarily saying that these are extraterrestrial aliens that have come from outside the planet, but if they don't share any known DNA, either this is a brand new species, or they might just be aliens that died on Earth, okay? Jesus. It's so crazy how they're showcasing UFOs even as part of an entire showcase where they actually have alien bodies. Remember about a month ago, like a month and a half ago, David Grush was saying, there's there's bodies, there's non-human bodies, and they would never talk about it? Well, the Mexicans have one-upped everyone. They've actually shown the alleged bodies that are not of human origin even. That's crazy. Or even of like terrestrial origin from our planet. That literally means it's either a new species or it's outside our scope. That's crazy. So of course here's a close-up look. Again, eyes, nose, small, tiny mouth. It literally looks like it's from a Steven Spielberg like E.T. movie. It almost looks like a prop of the E.T. character. So in this shot,
you're far too far away from me.
Experts is saying that the actual DNA associated with this weird E.T. thing, 35% of it is actually unknown, which is a wild situation to even look at.
I can't help you there. I'm way away from you. You guys left me.
So you can see like the pelvis is kind of jutting out. Very, very, very thin, frail-looking thing. And of course, you know these. It's got maybe it's like gonads up here, and then like a set of organs down over here. And that's all people can really look at. So again, according to a translation, basically it seems Masan, who was under oath, addressed members.
Are you dumb? What mic do you think that I'm using, bro? You're telling me my mic is trash? Do you even know what I have my mic plugged into? Are you guys gonna push that fight or are you gonna retreat? Is anyone gonna get that shield, boy? Is my mic bad?
New kill leader. Eyes out. Getting shot at. Broke their shield now. Reload.
Arcs are out. Deploying an evac tower. Throwing thermite. Deploying an evac. Fine. Give me
Recharging my shields. Say one. We're all
Tearing it up. This looks being shot at. Reload it. Crack that egg shield. Scramble.
reloaded.
EQ out.
Spotted. Take it. Split lineman. I gotcha.
Care package incoming. Let's get to the LZ.
Squad taken out.
Evo shield here. Level 3.
Hey, got our squad mate's banner.
Focus, people. We have to get inside the ring.
B2020 here. Longbow here. Extended light mag here. Level 2. Longbow here. Shield cell here.
I'm back and
Really? You don't even want to talk about my mic anymore, you fucking loser? You wanted to talk shit and then you just fucking back out of it?
healing.
Keyboard warrior.
Brighter Band says, equals.
Just giving my shields a recharge.
Equals question mark? What?
Brighter Band says, what are you barking?
You can't hear me? Are you dumb?
Peacekeeper. Light ammo here.
Deathbox here.
Shield cell here. Barrel stabilizer here. Level 2.
Hostile over there.
Heavy ammo here. Optics here. Close range.
We're inside the ring. Got the positional advantage. Care package on its way. Swing out. Hold. Eyes on that spot.
You're moving alone.
Tango spotted.
Here's your birthday present. Evo shield here. Level 3.
Popping smoke.
Helmet here.
We have to get
Level
inside the
3.
ring. Only 2 other squads. Enemy spotted. Near me. Yep. Sweet fix.
Back tower.
Watch it. Hostile landing near me. Firing. Need a leg. Spotted. Come down. Need a medic.
Touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me.
Shield is cracked.
45 seconds. Rings close.
Killing and drowning.
Brighter Band says, OMG. Brighter Band says, what a I dot.
Hostile. Danger close. Rings in our
You
neighborhood.
push them on your own.
30. Recharging my shields, Kazi. We should head this way.
Brighter Band says, safe.
Keep shooting at me.
Brighter Band says,
Charging my
OMG.
shields, Kazi.
10 seconds, the ring's just ahead.
Brighter Band says, can someone res?
Hold on, use the
Brighter
ping.
Band says.
Reloaded.
Brighter Band says, NA. Brighter Band says, what a team.
Yeah, you pushed alone, you dumbass! It's your fault! You're the one who's dead! Figure it out!
Gonna take a little fast dump, and I'm just getting warm.
Like, who the fuck is calling me from this number? Hmm. You think I'm answering a California call? Nah. Problems. Good luck. All the fucking office.
Ready to go. Seen?
Ahead, we talk of victory and slaughter.
Even gunpowder needs a spark.
This is your champion.
The day is mine.
I'm the jump master. Follow me. I say we land here.
Of the Mexican government and U.S. officials. He said the UFO specimen were recently studied at the Autonomous National University of Mexico, UNAM, where scientists analyzed DNA evidence using radiocarbon dating. These specimens are not part of our extraterrestrial evolution. These are beings that were found after a UFO wreckage. They were found in diatom, which are algae mines, and were later fossilized. Insane. And of course, at the event, there was the Professor Abraham Avi-Loeb, who we know from the Harvard experiments where they were actually looking at, pieces of alien, or not alien, but like extraterrestrial, like meteors, like falling onto Earth. And they were actually looking through that to find materials that would never have been located on Earth, so literal extraterrestrial materials. And of course, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And of course, Avi-Loeb urged the Mexican government to allow national scientists to study the possibilities of potential alien existence. So it's kind of like LK-99, where something wild fucking happens, and now we need to just actually get down to proving this scenario too. Here's like more footage of like the aliens too. This is when they're like actually whipping out the caskets over here, showcasing them off, and that's the actual like mummified alleged, extraterrestrial bodies, like alien corpses, literally is what the media, the governments are calling it. So according to an actual commenter over here on one of the UFO Reddits, who actually has good, Spanish, has said that there are 3 points. They avoid the mention of the bodies being of extraterrestrial origin. So extraterrestrial, we all know what that basically means, is aliens being from, just outside Earth, okay? Literal alien mountains, in the traditional sense. Which I guess makes sense. This might actually be from a UFO, but again, these bodies are about 1,000 years old, meaning that for them to die, they died long before, the Mexican civilization as we know today, in its current shape and form, existed. Masan claimed that they were originally debunked by people who had never even seen them in person. I read a few of the debunk links posted here and other posts to find that to be pretty accurate. The debunkers lean on Masan's history and reputation that the bodies were found by grave robbers. The forensic analysts claimed that the DNA was only 70% matched with known DNA. That means 30%! Alright, that's a huge variance. Jesus Christ. Humans differ from apes by about 5%, and from bacteria, might have been viruses, don't recall, by at most 15%. Again, a 30% variance of unknown DNA is pretty massive. Again, like I keep saying, either this is a brand new species, or maybe this is actually alien dead bodies. Who knows? Again, this isn't a conspiracy theorist bringing it out. This is also backed by a fucking world government. The Mexican government is showing this in their Congress. That's insanity. Now, this is where I'm going to have to stop and just straight up reiterate that I personally don't believe these alien bodies, okay? Aside from the fact that this alien body looks very similar to something like E.T. or Eraserhead, like this literally seems like it's a prop out of a movie. Yeah, these are alien corpses, allegedly 1,000-year-old, that the Mexican government has brought up. And the thing is, they're displayed by an individual that does, in fact, have a pretty controversial past in terms of talking about these kind of situations. So again, believing it is very, very difficult. This just feels like, honestly, one of the most surreal moments that I've ever seen on, national television or alien history. We literally went from talking about
I got one on me.
Aerial phenomenon, disappearing planes, something that kind of had that aura of legitimacy almost, and especially when it was brought in front of governments, Congress, with actual Air Force operators as well. This is a situation where honestly I'm kind of having a massively hard time believing it, but even if I do try to suspend my disbelief, just the fact that I'm looking at 2 alleged alien bodies in front of the world is its own... Again, it's hard to describe this moment as anything but surreal. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to ask you a question. What do you guys think about this? Obviously, do you think these are real alien bodies? Personally, I think I need a little bit more proof than that. I think we actually need to have scientists from all over the world fly in here into Mexico and start poking around on these 1,000-year-old alleged bodies. Because what we are looking at over here is something that could have been a prop out of E.T., literally out of a movie. So let's actually see. Let's understand the physiology, the genetics, and hopefully Mexico's not BSing us. Okay, but remember, this is a country where the president does actually believe in elves and fairies and all that shit. It's a wild world, okay? Mexico is #1 for entertainment, at least in this year, okay? I think it's safe to say that the Mexican government outdid themselves, if this is even a distraction or whatnot, because everyone is distracted, okay? Everyone is blown away looking at alleged dead alien bodies. That's it. Let's back out. Gentlemen, if you liked today's video, let me know in the comment section below. This is me, Mudahar, and yeah.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Was there the fear that you entering into professional tournaments would knock your gambling? Just people know that you.
By this time, everyone knew. I mean, you know, it didn't take long before a few trips I went by my middle name. Yeah, because there were magazines that, you know, you could see what's going on around the country.
Right.
You just might not get a picture or a video of it or whatever, so you start to hear names, you know. So, like, first time I went to California, I did that, actually. You know, it worked out nice, so.
What did you do? You just use a different name?
Well, it's a funny story, and I think he can laugh about it now, but you know Marcus Shamadas, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Sweden. So there was a guy that was staking him, and it's a lot of other great players, and he was big action, the guy was. And I knew Marcus was out there, and so I'm in Hard Times. I think I told you about this the other day with Keith, but the only two people in the Hard Times that knew me, all right, was Keith and Jose Perica, all right? So everyone else didn't know who I was. So Marcus Shamadas is standing next to two other guys that I know play but won't play, kind of thing. So I go up and I ask those two guys, I was like, you know, when do y'all want to play some, you know, $50 or $100 sets of 9 ball? Knowing Marcus is going to just jump right on me. You know what I mean? Like, he's right next to him. So long story short, that happened. And, but I introduced myself as Tyler, my middle name, you know, like I just did, you know. So we start playing. He beats me a set for 100, playing even. I quit. He offers me the 8. Beats me a set for 200. I quit. Now he offers me the 7. So now his stake horse starts coming over near me because Marcus is just stealing this little 4 or 500. Ain't got nothing to do with a stake horse. You know what I mean? This is just like pocket money. So now his stake horse comes over and he's kind of interested in the game. He says he'll give you the 7, but you got to bet, you know, everything you got. I got like 25 or 30,000 on it. You wouldn't know it, but I do. You know, so I can't pull out 25 or 30,000. They're gonna know something's up. So me and my buddy, we talked for a second. So we end up pulling out like 4,500. So we play for a little bit, and now we're playing 7 ahead. We were playing a race of 7 for the 100 and 200, right? So now he thinks he's stealing, because I mean the way I played in the other 2 sets. You know what I'm saying? So he just comes out like gangbusters. He's got me like 4 games down. I'm talking to my buddy. I'm like, man, this is sick. We're going to get beat in this spot right here and getting the 7, you know? So finally I get a shot, and I start to run out. Now I'm starting to run out. And so his stake horse sits there, and he says, man, ain't this something? You know what I mean? He says, we thought we were stealing. It looks real bad now. So I beat him that set. So now at Hard Times, you've been there, right, in LA?
Yeah, Bellflower.
Yeah, so they got the player side, right, with the tight tables, and they got the looser tables. Well, he had me on the looser tables thinking, you know, I'm just a sucker, you know. So he says, the stake horse says, double the bet, and we'll give you the 8 on the tight tables. Right? So this is like really good for me. You know, now I'm getting a spot on even a tougher table. So I beat him that set. But during that second set, a friend of mine had built me a cue and sent it out to the guy that ran the tournaments in LA, right? So I'm going by Tyler, and this guy walks up, and he says, are you Jeremy Jones?
Oh, no.
He says, if you are, I got a cue for you, you know? And I was like, no, I ain't Jeremy. Because I'm in the middle of this $9,000 set playing, you know? So I said, no, I ain't Jeremy Jones, you know? And I just sent him on his way. And then the next day when I came in, Mark knew who I was. And, you know, everyone spilled the beans kind of thing. Go tell the guy, all right, that's my cue. So,
was he mad at you?
No, not at all. He understood. It's kind of like a funny story around there now, I think. But Marcus was mad at me for a little while.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Oh, yeah, because he was European, you know. And it was just kind of like, you know, if someone got me like that, you know, it's going to sting, but it's going to be more like, all right, touche kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Later on, you know, we're going to laugh about it and stuff. But it's almost like if you first beat Efren, he walks by you, but he don't say much to you for about a month or 2.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he's got to let that wear off a little bit. It took it to Marcus probably about a decade before. It was bad, yeah.
So when he beat you the first 2 sets even, were you hustling a little?
Well, I might not have put forth my best effort, but he played real good. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was just, all right, let me pick up this 400 or 500.
Were you purposely trying to set something up?
Well, you know, I'm definitely not trying to win for 200. You know what I mean? Like his stake horse, who now is actually, after that trip, became a real good friend of mine. You know, at that time, he was known you could beat him out of 40 and 50, 1,000, right? So you're not going to start off do anything like that for 200.
So when you first start playing, you play good, but you're not really bearing down.
Right.
So you're showing him that you can play a little, but you might miss some shots that.
Plus, I wanted to see him play.
Right.
You know, I heard the name, kind of wanted to really see, because eventually to beat him out of the real money, it's going to be playing even.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he's another great player. So that eventually was going to happen, but Marcus ended up having to leave the country for his visa got shortened up or something like that. He actually ended up leaving the next day. But I stuck around for about a month.
In these other countries, is there a lot of gambling going on? Obviously in the Philippines there is. But is there a lot of gambling going on in these other countries where all these players are emerging?
Some of Asia, for sure. Southeast Asia especially, I think. You know, Thailand, like you said, Philippines, Indonesia. Europe here and there, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. And I think it's more of the stake horse kind of situation. It's just not the mentality. You know, there's not stake horse. You know, people aren't just thinking, oh, let me go put somebody else in action for thousands of dollars and get half. You know, it's just not your everyday thing.
One of the fun parts of American pool culture, the stake horses.
Oh, absolutely. They're some of the biggest characters.
Crazy people with tons of money.
Yeah, and how they got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're interested in gambling on pool.
Yeah, I've been paid and buried money quite a few times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It stinks. It stinks. Usually. Oh, yeah. No. The whole car stunk. Really? Oh, yeah. Real bad.
Do you think there's like bodies next to the
money? I don't think so.
Why did it smell? Just mildew and shit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm talking about, I think this has been there a long time, 30 years. Yeah. There was a guy one time in South Carolina. There's another place that I frequented in the summers, especially because we gambled at golf. But this guy, Frank, and he was a great, great guy. And he was coming in overalls, didn't know he had a penny, but he staked a lot of players, and he did a lot for the pool community. So he comes in one morning because we'd all meet at the pool room about 10 a.m. We'd all make a golf game. Then we'd go out to the golf course, gamble golf, come back to the pool room, and make pool games, right? It was awesome. I mean, the whole summer was like this. So this friend comes in one morning, and he looked real upset. And he never looked upset. Always happy. Even if he lost, he was happy. And so I said, Frank, what's wrong? You okay? Or I saw one of my bushes dug up today. So one of his sons that was was a little detached at times from the family for one reason or another. He let us stay there, and he said he knew it right. It was a $30,000 bush. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so he took it like a grain of salt. He was more of disappointed. It was kind of like a disappointed father kind of thing, more than upset. He had plenty of money, So, but it's amazing what people do with their money. Oh, I can't tell you probably maybe the craziest. I'll tell you later on the craziest ones on there. But let's see. So one time I was at a tournament in Mississippi. And get on with this. I won the tournament. Top tournament, Johnny Archer, all the great players, and his bar table. So I won like 8,000. So by the time I won the tournament, I think I was about 25,000 losing at the casino. Okay, like terrible trip. I mean, I wasn't even trying. You remember Tony Ellen?
Yes.
So he was 20 minutes late to get a steak dinner at the Horseshoe. It cost me about 12,000. I went down there and said, let me just pitch 300. And they just pounded me, right? So I got the tournament money after winning. It was 8,000. Went straight to the cage and cashed it, and straight to the black. Yeah, I had it about 10 minutes, so the 8,000 was gone. And so this guy that was playing there, his name was Frank Seals, and he was a legendary stake horse. And he used to stake CJ when he was a kid, and a lot of players throughout the years. And he said, hey, if you're ever bored, if you want to come up to Morristown, Tennessee, I got a kid, I'll let you play. If you still want to play. I like the way you gamble, is what he said. Watch me play blackjack. Blow all my money, right? Yeah. So,
what the fuck?
So I told him this, and I said, you ain't dealing me no blackjack up there if I go up there. So anyways, I go up there. So he's got this guy, Mark Owens was his name, good player. And real high gear. Maybe
just one fucking peek and I got fucking done. Shot that guy. I did him. I took incoming somehow.
So long story short, I got him 10,000 loser. Okay. And it's because we raised it and whatnot. And so now the whole town, this is a small town, okay, just up in the northeast corner of Tennessee. So the whole town starts coming in, and this is their hero. So my buddy starts taking bets on the side, you know. So now I got a 10,000 loser, and he says, we want to play a set for 10,000. This is what Frank says, the stake horse. He says, but we need to call 8. You know what the call is,
Yeah.
of course, right? So I said, okay, yeah. So we're going to race to 15. So we're betting about 10,000 on the side. Okay, so we're playing a set for like 20. All right, because my buddy's got a list of bets this long with all the town people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's 9-8 me. Instead of playing safe on the 8, I try to jack up off the end rail and stab it in and draw my ball. You know what I mean? I bobble it. He makes it, he breaks and runs 5 ranks. He's up 14-9. So now he breaks, going to 15. And the 4-9 is wired over the spot. He makes an incredible shot on the 1. He's got the 3 down the rail, and he's just got a cupcake on the 4-9. So I turned my buddy, and I said, man, we ain't got but like 8,000 left, you know? Because we were a winner. We started off with 1,000 a set. I said, we can't lower the bet. You can't do that.
Right.
Then they know you're short. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, what are we going to do? You know, get more money tomorrow, whatever, right? So the pool table's here, right? He's shooting to this corner. Now, Frank is the only guy. He's sitting right here on a stool chair, right? Like a little school chair.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is way back over here besides me and my buddies over here, right? All the people watching. So he knocks the 3 in, Mark does, and he comes down. He was kind of one of those guys that would fire the 9. You know what I'm saying? You've seen him. He rifles this 4-9. He could have just tapped it, and it would have rolled right in the corner. This ball went down and swirled around in the pocket. Jumped almost all the way back out to the spot. That's how far it went.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all the money's on the line, right? So Frank, he knows about pool, and the ball's aimed directly at Frank. So as soon as he hits it, he knows it's in. So Frank starts to get up and get the money. I said, oh, Frank, I said, the 9's on the table. You know, Frank's like 75 years old. He's got glasses. So I said, the 9's on the table. He said, oh, I'm sorry. You know, like he didn't realize it didn't go in. Well, it did go in. It just came back out. Yeah. Never pocketed another ball the whole set. I played safe on that first shot. I broke a ran, played safe, broke a ran, beat him 15-14.
This is a good
Yeah. So now the kid, he quits, and he's literally crying off the stairs. Okay. So Frank says, come back the next day, we'll play you some more. So we come back the next day. We start out playing like for 3,500, races to 11. So I beat him 3 sets. So he says, hey, he's going to take a break. He said, I'll play you some more in a minute. Sweet, man. This is good. Good action, man. So Frank's sitting in this chair right here, and the kid's practicing a little bit, and he hits the ball in that same pocket. He jumps the pocket, hits Frank dead in the eye, right? His glass, blood's going everywhere. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
oh, yeah, it was ironically crazy, right? So we end up having to quit, and we never end up playing again. So the same pocket that kind of saved me the day before, right? Kind of got him the next day, and we ended up never playing again. Funny story.
What kind of shitty table is that?
It was Gold Crown, but it had replacement pockets. You know, the big black ones that go in, they're kind of bulky, they kind of move around a little bit.
Shitty job.
Yeah, it's old school pool hall. But
Oh, man.
yeah, that Frank, he was something else. So I'm playing, right? And he pulls up his overall, and I see a gunshot wound in his leg. I said, dang, Frank, you got shot. He said, yeah, my wife shot me about 10 years ago. I said, man, you mean your ex-wife, don't you? He said, no. He says, I'm still with her, right? I said, damn. About 3 months later, she killed him. After I played it. Yeah, same lady that shot her. Must be a 10-year.
She shot him dead?
Dead. Dead. I think, yeah, my wife shot me about 10 years ago. I said, man, you mean your ex-wife, don't you? No, he says, I'm still with her, right? Damn. 3 months later, she killed him.
We're inside the ring.
After I played it. Yeah, same lady that shot her. Must be a 10-year.
She shot him dead?
Dead. Dead. I think she did 6 months in a mental place in
Rest
house.
Oh my
Yeah.
6 months?
6 months, that was it. Yeah.
That's it? She shot him twice?
Yeah, no, I think it
Did
was
you
like,
not tell about more?
I think it was like 5 of them in the
Oh, when she killed
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Remember I was telling you about that buried money?
Yeah.
Frank gave me some of that buried money. I think he was kind of like a numbers guy. You know how they run the lottery out in the country on their own and stuff? Yeah, I think he did like stuff like that. So.
Every once in a while, I get to make a gear video where when I'm done with the video, that piece of gear actually changes the way I work. It's coming out of the speakers here. Hit this button. Switch speakers from here to the one that's not even connected to my computer. This is one of those videos. The Mackie DLZ has been my audio interface at my Stream Desk for a while now, and it's been great. I love it. However, it just received an update that allowed my YouTube desk to become my Dream Desk. And this desk isn't even connected to it. So I just want to do one thing. I want to explain what this update is, and I want to explain why it's such a big deal. That's two things. I want to do two things.
Yeah, you suck at life.
So first off, I'd like to thank Mackie for reaching out and sending me this update ahead of time so I can test it out, and then also sponsoring this video. I feel like lots of times these updates can completely change the way a device is used, but once the initial launch of the product is done, nobody really pays attention to them. They don't get the attention they deserve. And if you're looking for audio interfaces, you should know about this. Like I mentioned before, I've been using my Mackie DLZ for a couple months now. Right now, my shotgun mic at my Stream Desk goes into it, my speakers plug into it, my guitar rig goes into it. It's my audio hub for everything that happens at that desk. But this update added 2 new features, and now it does something extra special and has a completely new utility. First of the 2 updates is multi-language support. It used to have 1 language, now it has 9. If that matters to you, that
does not matter to me.
Let's move on to number 2. Update number 2 has to do with the most important part of the device, the rear of the device, and something that was lacking before, but now it is the most advanced. Mackie was not great at interfacing multiple devices or multiple people beyond the single it was next to. But now what they've done with that little Ethernet jack in the back that most people ignore is they've added NDI to this device. In fact, it's the first audio interface that uses NDI. And if you're already like NDI, I don't know what that is.
I fucking love NDI. Shut the fuck up. I love NDI.
NDI allows you to send audio and video over a network, like over Ethernet. And I'm starting to think that it'd be easier to just show you the thing that blew my mind the first time I tried it. So come with me. No, further, come with me. Now, over here at this desk, I have a Mac Mini. And this Mac Mini is on my home network. It's actually hardwired in with an Ethernet port. Now, I can play music out of this Mac. I'm going to do that right now. And obviously, I'm going to play Stream Beats because it's copyright-free music for YouTubers and streamers, and it's totally free. Link down below. That was a plug because I made Stream Beats, if you didn't know. So I'm going to play off the lo-fi playlist here. And it's not going to sound great because it's coming out of the little Mac Mini speakers. However, if I go to the audio output, change that to NDI audio. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it. Let me show you. We are now playing the audio from that Mac Mini 40, 50 feet away out of these speakers because it's being picked up by my Mackie DLZ. No wires, no connections, nothing except being over the network. And by the way, NDI goes both directions. So at the same time that that's getting audio from the Mac, I can also send audio over NDI to any computer in my house, whether wire over Ethernet or even over Wi-Fi. And this unlocks a ton of options for creating content and broadcasting. Like, for example, I can be on a 2-PC setup and I don't have to have both PCs in the same room, turning my room into a sauna. The other one can be in the room next door or even, I don't know, across the house if I wanted. Actually, it could even be in a completely different house because you can also do this over the internet. This can also be great for remote podcasts. Let's say you wanted to start a podcast with a friend in a different state, or you want to have a guest on the podcast, but you want to have the same control as if they're there in the studio with you. You can send audio to each other over NDI like this. But what I really want to do is geek out with you guys for just a second and explain how this changed my desk so much. Because I don't know if you noticed, but there is something missing. Actually, there's 2 things missing. Up until last week, I had 2 large speakers on my desk, and I had to have them on my desk in order for me to check the audio of the videos we were uploading. However, it meant a shot like this, or really any shot that wasn't directly straight on, was impossible, because you would see the back of this giant plastic speaker with wires coming out of it, and it was ugly. It didn't work. Once I updated my Mackie, I realized that all I had to do if I really wanted to fine-tune my audio was change my audio output to NDI, And now it comes out of the speakers at my other desk, like my gigantic 8-inch Yamaha speakers. So I decided to take my little girl on a daddy-daughter date to the Apple store. It was a 40-minute drive, not a big deal. We got a little screen in the back where she watched Inside Out, which is a movie that makes me cry every single time I watch it. Pop into the store, grab the studio display, which has fantastic speakers built into it. Figure out how to fit it in the back of my car when I didn't realize a lot of my wife's junk was in there still. Bring it back home, remove the current monitor that not only had really terrible speakers, but also I found out the colors were super inaccurate. And now I've got a monitor that looks amazing and sounds good for 99% of my use. And the moment I need to hear the audio with perfection, I send it over to my speakers across the room. I need a demonstration might be best. So here's a video of Hank Green talking about flat earthers amongst other things. Mostly I just think he's not going to copyright strike this video. So I hit play. It's coming out of the speakers here. Hit this button. Just like that, switch speakers from here to the one that's not even connected to my computer. There's like a teeny tiny, like milliseconds of delay. It's hardly even noticeable. And now I don't need speakers on my desk. There's something about the freedom of a clean desk that makes me so happy to sit here. It's also made my top-down shots a lot easier because I have so much more space. It's also made shots like this possible. I couldn't have gotten this shot before. But mostly, guys, I spend a good 10 to 14 hours a day in this room, and I finally feel like this is my desk the way I want it to be. And so I guess thank you, Mackie, for adding NDI and then also for sponsoring this video and allowing me to share this with other people. I really hope this ends up changing some of your experiences too. That'd be dope. I will leave the link in the description down below to download the NDI plugin. It'll be both for Mac and for PC. There will be 2 different download links on that page. Make sure you download them both. The instructions will be in this video. I'll also leave a link to the Mackie DLD Creator down below. It's a great device. I'm really enjoying mine. Go check it out. And as always, happy streaming.
There's multiple things fighting over there.
I know it looks bad. I'm gonna shave it. The only reason I haven't shaved it yet is because...
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Let's head that way.
Okay. I don't know, my game is acting weird. The sound is off. The delay. The screen is kind of tearing.
Yeah.
Oh, or not. They didn't realize I got off. True, they took the lift all the way. It's perfect.
Never again. This cable has been one of the worst parts of living in Apple's walled garden ecosystem.
Do you think me a fool? Do you really think there would be groundbreaking new alien information and I wouldn't know about it? Ridiculous. I stay at the forefront of all alien developments. I love alien shit. Last night, there was a surprise broadcast from Mexican Congress where they presented supposed alien corpses. And you bet your
Now I want to start by laying out. I'm gonna give you all of the eating utensils before feeding you the meal. Basically, what happened
DP
is
says,
there is a individual by the name of Jaime Musan, and he claimed that he had 1,000-year-old alien bodies that he presented at Mexican Congress. There's a lot of confusion around this situation right now. People are misled into believing that this was the Mexican government coming forward and just dropping this hot potato on everyone out of nowhere, when that's not the case. This is from an individual, Jaime Musan, who is a UFOologist and researcher, and he is presenting all of it. And this isn't even his first time doing it. In 2017, he presented yet another mummified alien corpse, not human, but it was later debunked and proven to not be alien at all. So he has done this before, but this time around he's presenting new corpses and also claiming that there's been extensive research, studies, tests, and scientists working on it to confirm that these are 100% real, authentic extraterrestrial visitors. Now, he and his team are saying that all of this information is available for any scientists around the world to confirm their findings, which I think is great. Inviting research into these is fantastic, and I guess we can finally know for certain if he's being truthful here, and these are somehow actually alien bodies. I guess they came down to Earth for fucking spring break and just, they lost control of themselves, maybe drank too much and died of liver failure. I have no fucking clue. But we have these corpses from 1,000 years ago. He's claiming these are mummified aliens and has a bunch of tests, allegedly, that they've run on them, and is inviting the rest of the world to do the same. So I'm excited to see if the rest of the world does that, and if they also confirm all of these findings. But now, let's get into talking about the aliens themselves, and then I want to bring on an expert, my father. You all know my father is on the cutting edge of everything alien-related. If anyone's going to have an eye to see through the bullshit, it's going to be old Papa Charles, I'll tell you right now. Oh, there's a little carcass. I couldn't even tell. I don't believe that at all. This is way too stereotypical alien look. I think there is no way. I think there's absolutely no fucking shot. I just don't believe that, though. If this looked actually less like all of the movies depict aliens, I'd be far more on the side of possibly. But this actually just looks like a prop. From, like, Arrival. Or not Arrival. What's the, oh my god. What is the one that has the really quintessential grays from back in the day? I can't remember now. They even made, like, little postcards for them. Like, you're invited. Okay. Pretty cool. It'd be wild if these were real and our movie depictions of aliens were spot on. That would be crazy. That would be big. But I don't see why they would bother faking this. I don't see what the gain is other than like a good joke.
45 until ring close.
Is that shit going down? Yeah, okay.
Humano? No, Humano. I understand that. I feel like aliens are likely to look like giant insects. I think they'd be insectoid as well. Your father would disagree?
Oh, really?
I don't think he'd believe this.
Yeah, it'll craft both of them.
This looks very silly.
Not bad.
And especially just to drop it cold turkey out of nowhere on a YouTube stream. Well, I guess it was more than a YouTube stream. This just happens to be one of the places it was broadcast.
Again.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
LOL.
Put it into a database that is able to be accessed by anyone to verify their claims. They show a list of tests that have been done to the bodies, including metallurgy specialists, radiologists, and geneticists. They verified the authenticity and age of the bodies. They showed scans of their insides that showed metal implants in some of them, as well as eggs with embryos and organic material inside of them. Okay, well, if anyone can access it, it should be super easy for every other scientist in the world to start running tests on it, then to confirm it. That should be an easy slam dunk. Then
that fucking thing just threw me off of it.
43
See that?
Files. Holy shit. Well, it was all there. They put it in the labs of the brightest scientists in the world. They'd all want to get a piece of that action, I imagine. Let them run wild.
Impre says,
we could win the alien war if they actually look like that. In hand-to-hand combat, for sure. but their tech to get here must be
Right up at
nuts.
what?
So now let's go ahead and break down what we've seen here. Judging from the bodies, they're not that large. They're not, like, imposing in stature. I actually feel confident that I could beat them in a fight, whereas normally the only age group I'm
Oh, there's a
comfortable
team
at
behind me?
in
What the
combat
fuck?
is ages 12 and below. I feel like there's just not many children that would beat me in pugilistic combat, and I feel the same for this alien race if they're all about that same size. And who's to say that these aren't like their elite warriors and the normal aliens could be even smaller? Like, I feel like I'd have no problem just wiping the fucking floor with them, just feeding them knuckle sandwiches out the wazoo. So that's nice.
They're
That
getting
makes me
third
feel a
party.
lot more confident should this be a real alien that all look like that. I feel like we'd have a really good chance if it came to, like, fighting them with our bare hands. Now, apparently one of the aliens also had eggs inside of it, so I guess it was pregnant. Maybe it's possible we could dust the cobwebs off and hatch those puppies ourselves. That would be pretty wild. But now, anyway, you've heard from the dumb Neanderthal, Charles White Jr., but let's hear from the preeminent expert in alien research, Charles White Sr. I give you my perspective. I don't necessarily believe this, but I'm going to withhold full judgment for the rest of the world's scientific studies on these bodies. Hopefully those results and those studies will be conducted soon. Let's see what my dad has
They
to say.
said they did the scientific studies.
What's up? You look at the alien corpses.
Check me out.
Impre says, can't believe we made to top 10.
How have you not seen them yet? Go look at them right now. Tell me what you think.
I'm working on the top fuel dragster.
Well, the top fuel dragster can wait. You gotta see the alien corpses. I need
Impre
an
says,
expert's opinion.
just hide.
No, check me out, yo. It's the easy route.
I'm not making fun of you. I just want
Impre
to
says,
know what you think
LOL.
about it.
So where they claim they got these things from?
The Nazca lines. They claim they're
Impre
1,000
says,
years old.
let me go.
Well, I know all about the Nazca lines.
Yeah, I knew you would.
And the level's small. I mean, that, you know, to me, it looks
Scrappy
like a
DP
fucking
says,
paper mache
this isn't
box.
Titanic.
So,
Impre says,
you don't think it's real alien evidence?
I don't think
Fucking
it's
lit,
real.
watch this.
I mean, that's not real alien evidence. That could be anything.
Impre says, stop.
We're gonna immediately die again.
Impre says, gosh.
Okay. Alright, so this one does not have your stamp of
Impre
approval as
says,
legitimate.
haha,
God does not care about our Apex games, sir.
Alright, we're already in hell, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. This is too phony to me.
Alright, so it's not as convincing to you as Puma Punku and all that. Okay, well you heard it here first. If my dad doesn't believe it's real alien evidence, then dag nabbit, it's just not real alien evidence.
I'm gonna stay here on the high ground if I can.
So he's not super convinced of it. He's of course going to keep his finger on the pulse, as will I. Since they are inviting the rest of the world to study these mummified remains, I'm hoping that we'll get some conclusive yeses or nos on if it's extraterrestrial
Impre
or not.
says,
I feel like that
Poseidon.
shouldn't be super hard to prove if it's a fucking alien, if it's something that we've never seen before. And, you know, I feel like that'd be kind of easy if it's all real, but we'll wait and see. Either way, it was still just a wild development from out of nowhere,
She's
so
lit,
definitely
bro.
wanted to talk
I
about
swear
it.
to God.
That's really about it. So, yeah.
She had to run off the hill. Oh my god. Thank you. No heals. Oh my god.
You need some?
Hell.
Got you. Hold on.
Phoenix kid. No, I
Where
got
you at?
Phoenix kid out the bed. Yo, this is insane. We're top 6.
I got a car and an EVA 8, so don't expect me to do much.
I feel that I have a wingman and an EVA too. We're lit, baby.
No, we just we gotta make them come to us. Then let's get up top and let that fucking. Cause we've got this high ground, but we gotta get around on this somehow. Fuck, we gotta go down and through and around.
I'm crafting.
Yo, I'm camped right here on this ledge, bro. Good.
Yep, stay where you're in. Was there a team behind us? Yeah.
Yes, there is. Oh, he's red shields. Oh, yeah, he's gonna wait in there. He's shield.
Woo! Woo!
Now you got the red shields, baby. Fuck it up. We could win. I ain't gonna lie, man.
60 seconds left. The ring's very close.
Shops open. Full VIP.
Impre says, LOL.
Fucking goated. Yes, give me the red shield soon.
Mama's
Let's go.
got a brand new bag. 45. Buy and fly. We've got to move.
Remember who hooked you up. I've got your back.
Not Evo shield here. Level 2.
Recharging
I
my
have
shields.
one med and one shield battery. Let's fucking go.
I got. Well, what do you need?
Getting my eyes in the sky. Switching.
Where you at? I can drop some shit for you.
Making them repeat. Load up my drone.
Aircon if you need it. Listen up, the ring's moving. Last one down and a boom boom. Getting some damage in here.
I got hit, but one's down. I killed the kill leader.
Oh my god, fucking crypto.
It's you on 2.
This way, let's go.
Impre says, LOL.
Nice try, nice try.
Scrappy DP says, NT. Impre says, WP.
We have our Apex champion.
Man, it's always something. What's up, peeps? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks to all of you guys who've been watching as of late, also subscribing. Also, a huge shout out to our esports betting sponsor, that being Thunderpick, because today we're talking about some of the biggest Halo drama we have seen in a couple of months. And you can also bet on Halo through our partner. Please, if you do so, bet responsibly, 18 plus only. But more importantly, let's get to the heated drama in the Halo scene right now. As a Halo caster and community manager for Status Quo, that's Flamesword's team, by the way, has now, well, gone publicly to Twitter to manage a community and exclude some people from that community by referencing some good old Christian and Catholic quotes from the Bible. And this is going to be an interesting one to talk about, so let's get into it. As Magic Moonshot, again a caster and community manager for Status Quo, said, I am building out channels in my Discord for the ladies' scrims on Saturday. I love and value all people, and as a Christian, I believe God created people in his image as male and female. Genesis 5, 1 through 2. Therefore, I will not be allowing trans players to participate. And if you guys expected a response, well, yes, you surely got one. Before we even get to the second part of all of this, the initial statement, just like the immediate hypocrisy, is one of the biggest issues I have with all of this. Like, you have the gall to say, I love and value all people. Unless you are these kind of people, I will not be allowing them to partake. Like, the immediate hypocrisy, and then using like quotes as if to back you up. I'm not huge into bringing the Bible and religion into these kind of debates, guys, because you can debate back and forth, and people in replies even using their own religious quotes and verses to go back against what she had to say. But it is your job to manage a community, and it seems like you've done a pretty poor job just based off the response of you not allowing these people to partake because they are trans. Well, the Halo community, their wide and large response has been that Halo is for everyone. I'm not just talking about a large portion of the Halo community and players who saw this. I am talking about casters and talent and pretty much all the employees over at HCS. I'm talking about one of the heads over at HCS who helps, I believe also some of the heads at 343 who make the game Halo have all responded to this saying, hey, by the way, Halo is for everyone. We even have pro players like Lucid and Spartan and others now, of course, reiterating the fact that Halo is for everyone. But I do want to read at least some of these responses that had their take on the situation. My boy T-Dog saying, hey Moon, I'm not here to pile on, but I would encourage you to read Luke chapter 7, 36 through 50. Multiple times in scripture, Jesus converses with those who are considered outsiders in society. Instead of shunning them, he constantly trying to learn their story. The gaming scene is like sports, brings every race, religion, and background together, which to me is a perfect place to have genuine conversations without the church stigma. You never know who you can impact by your daily walk. And you had Spartan saying L, others agreeing. You had Wade Punk, who is well known in the esports space, saying the church taught me to be afraid of anything I didn't understand too. Please don't use your beliefs as an excuse not to learn the difference between gender and sex. Skylar saying, I want to start by saying I respect you, however, this is super unprofessional. Your representation when you say things online and IRL has an impact on Status Quo and LBT because you work for them. People will make assumptions about these orgs based on what you say. And we already have confirmation as of now, LBT and other sponsors have already begun to terminate their contracts working with this person, all because of this one post, which, yeah, that's certainly a sucky situation, but when you post these things publicly, I just don't understand how you can't see past. Like, how did you expect to say, I love and value all people, and then refute it right by saying, I'm not going to allow these people, and not expect the community to speak up? I just don't understand. Then you had Zach saying, the Lord is good to all. He has compassion for all he has made. Psalm 145. Do not use the Lord to justify your lack of acceptance and compassion for those who have wronged you. Lead with love. I hope you reconsider. Others saying, all I can say, this is extremely disappointing and disheartening to see. Really hoping you'll have a change of heart on this. This is not it at all. And this is John, who is the senior community manager for Halo, the game of which she represents in her community, saying the best way to show that you love and value everyone is to be as inclusive and inviting as possible, no matter what their background may be. To that point, I assure you that ostracizing an already underrepresented group is not the right way to go about building a healthy community. The world is already too quick to block out people because of differences. If we want to help change that, we should all strive to be more welcoming whenever we can. Alongside so many caring people who've already replied, I strongly encourage those sharing their experiences, reflect, and reconsider the approach. And that is from one big community manager managing the Halo community to one very small community manager within the Halo space, that being Magic Moonshot, sharing her take on the fact that trans people are not going to be allowed for her scrims. By the way, This is not some multi-million-dollar tournament and maybe sport debate of allowing trans people to compete as well. This is some Halo scrim night, all right? This is just practicing the game of Halo with the community, which ultimately I'm like, what are you even talking about? At the end of the day, and for me, it was the ultimate hypocrisy of starting out your tweet by saying that you love and value all people, where clearly you don't. I mean, you just go against exactly what you said. At the end of the day, if you have these thoughts, surely you can have them, and you can also keep them to
It's
yourselves.
like rain.
If you're going to say them aloud, you have to deal with the repercussions of a
On
community
your wedding
who clearly
day, it's
disagrees with
free
you and your
ride.
takes on this individual case.
When you're
players
already
and
late.
staff and
Some good
employees,
advice.
pastors and talent and other community managers are blatantly
Just
disagreeing with you and your takes, maybe it is wise to reapproach and
who would have
rethink,
thought?
you know, where you're coming from on these kind of things. At the end of the day, it seems the large response that I have seen from the Halo community is very unwelcoming of this take.
Where y'all going?
Halo is for everyone. So what do you guys think? Maybe developments on this coming, maybe not. I don't like covering these kind of things because it's so divisive and it gets so toxic. But what do you guys think?
We should probe that sector over there. Weapon supply bin here. Shield battery here.
Found extra supplies here.
Inspecting that area for loot.
Optics here. Laser sight here. Level 2.
Optics here. Sniper. There are sounds of enemy activity this way. Gas trap deployed. Take a deep breath.
Eating lead. Oscar Mike.
Getting shot. Defend here.
Smoke out. Already on my mark. Firing for effect.
Cracked a subject. Spotted one.
You'll be alright. I gotcha. Tango down. Taking damage.
Spotted zipline over there.
They got me. I'm down.
Target spotted. Target spotted.
Grenade.
Enemy spotted. I have a subject. Spotted one. Subject spotted. Spotted subject. Spotted one. Subject spotted. Subject spotted.
Faster than shoot.
Hey, you didn't smuggle any food in, did you? Oh, I could eat a Leviathan.
Why John can comment on this? Very mean, and you've done it before. How do you do that?
You come to the right place. When you put something in front of somebody, it doesn't mean that it's done, it means it's ready to receive feedback. This is not good. Or you put it back out. And as long as you accept that that's part of the process, that you're on the mountain and not that you're at the top and not that you're at the bottom, then I think you're doing it.
Just read this George Lucas story the other day too, where he was saying he had rewritten Star Wars like 500 times, and the only reason he actually turned in because he finally got like a deal for it. And he basically said like I want to keep rewriting it until but the only thing that forced action was a deadline. So you know, don't give up and follow your dreams and all that shit. That's what they're talking about.
This David script was awesome.
It does something.
Following me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everything else. If you want to watch videos like this before anyone else, check out patreon.com/SteveHopsa and come to a live show. I am touring just about everywhere. You can get tickets and see where all my shows are.
Zero idea what happened.
Get ready. Moving up.
Hey, John, comment on this. You're gonna do it before I'm gonna do it.
One team there. One team's going where we're going. Oh, they're going over there.
You put something in front of somebody, it doesn't mean that it's done, it means it's ready to receive. It's not good. Then you put it back out. And as long as you accept that that's part of the process, you're on the mountain and not that you're at the top, and not that you're at the bottom, then I think you're ready to do.
I just read this George Lucas story the other day too, where he had rewritten Star Wars like 500 times. And the only reason he actually took it is he finally got like a deal for it. And he basically said, like, I'm going to keep rewriting it and reading it until, but the only thing that forced action was a deadline. So, you know, don't give up and follow your dreams and all that shit.
Did you actually take fire?
Holy shit. I have no clue what you said, man.
Did you actually take fire?
David script was awesome.
Thanks for watching and sharing this video. And thank you for following me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everything. If you want to watch videos like this before anyone else, check out patreon.com/SteveHopsa and come to a live show. I am touring just about everywhere. You can get tickets and see where all my shows are at stevehopsetter.com. Thanks for watching.
Do you think me a fool? Do you really think there would be
Did we do it?
New alien information and I wouldn't know about it?
Did we do it, sir?
Welcome back to Hardware Unboxed. Last week, we checked out the Radeon RX 700.
How you feeling, buddy?
And we found it to be surprisingly good value at $500 US. It certainly took it to the more expensive GeForce RTX 4070, but our day one review only included 15 games. So today, we're going much more in-depth with a 45-game sample. But before we do, today's sponsor spot is brought to you by Ugreen and their first
I really gotta tell you, I don't care
watt
what
GaN charger featuring a single dedicated 140 watt output and PD 3.1 charging to facilitate incredibly fast charging. Included are 4 USB Type-C ports.
What do you mean my mic is AIDS? It doesn't have HIV. I'm sorry. That's stupid. Telling me my mic has AIDS? Get out of here with your stupid ass.
Be aware. I hear subjects in this direction. Shields are spotted a zip rail here. Recharging shields.
Get around that rock green. Is there something wrong with my mic? Is that what you're saying, Typey?
Calling in a lifeline package.
Huh, Keyboard McGee? What are you saying? We are the dumb ones, you are the beasts. I don't know what you say. Cool, it's your evac tower. Shit, go ahead and get your evac. I ain't got that far to go. I'm gonna make it running though.
Open supply bin over there.
Yeah, cool. See, I'm running, going along.
Indicate there are enemies this way. There's a ring console here.
There's a ring console here.
I've located the next ring. We should inspect that area. Surveying for loot here.
I'm gonna get the R301, bitch, and let's go now. I got a better gun, oh, oh. I got a better gun, oh. Let's go. Motherfuckers don't even know. Come their way. No, hey. I'm not worried about a ring console, buddy. They trade that out for those. Boom, boom, let's go. Who's happening? What's happening?
Replicator.
Reinforcing my Evo shield. Grenade. This way. Sounds of our enemies. Get some healing. Enemy shield busted. Reloading.
One set up there, there's another team coming. They're third party in.
I hear subjects that way. Reinforcing my... Getting shot. Breathe it in. I hear a target this way. Took down a fool. Ring's closing in 1 minute.
Top, I broke him for 13.
left. No time to be tired. Down and I gotcha. Just giving my shields a recharge.
Shields are recharged. This is a matter.
Now, here's a look at all 56 configurations tested at 1080p, and overall performance is very similar between these two GPUs. The 7800 XT was just 3% faster on average, which means typically speaking performance is going to be very similar. That said, there were examples where the Radeon GPU was faster by a 20% margin or more, and some where it was slower by a 20% margin or more. If we remove the ray tracing data, we find that the 7800 XT was 5% faster on average, so again, basically a tie between these two GPUs. There were certainly more examples where the Radeon GPU was significantly faster, but with well over half of the games seeing single-digit margins, there's generally not a lot in it. Surprisingly, it's a similar story when looking at the ray tracing results in the 13 games tested. The only bad result here for the 7800 XT was seen in Cyberpunk 2077, resulting in a 4% loss overall. Still, there were a few wins here for the Radeon GPU, so certainly not a disaster on the ray tracing front. Now, at 1440p, we find similar margins to that of the mixed workload 1080p data, though instead of 3% faster, the 7800 XT is now 5% faster on average, so overall performance was again very similar with no clear winner. Now, removing the ray tracing results bumps the 7800 XT up slightly. Now it is 7% faster on average. It's clear based on this graph that the Radeon GPU will generally deliver better rasterization performance, and in a select few instances the gains can be massive. And again, we find the ray tracing results are very competitive between these two GPUs, at least overall. The 7800 XT still gets annihilated in Cyberpunk 2077, and it's particularly unimpressive in Hogwarts Legacy, Dying Light 2 and Hitman 3. Still, it does well in Resident Evil 4, Forza Horizon 5, Fortnite and Far Cry 6. Then finally, at 4K, the 7800 XT enjoys its biggest margin yet of 8%, and this is no doubt helped by a massive win in Hogwarts Legacy using ray tracing, where the RTX 4070 ran out of VRAM, but really performance for both GPUs was terrible anyway. At Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where the RTX 4070 only managed 70 FPS, whereas the 7800 XT was good for 104 FPS using the ultra-high preset. Now, if you remove those two, generally speaking, in terms of performance, the 7800 XT and RTX 4070 are very evenly matched, though depending on the games you play, one could be quite a bit faster than the other. So it is well worth researching the performance for the titles you're most interested in. More often than not, the 7800 XT is going to be the better performer when it comes to rasterization, while the RTX 4070 is generally superior for ray tracing. The key advantage of the GeForce GPU is DLSS support and frame generation, at least for certain single-player titles. Of course, we know AMD's FSR 3 is incoming, but we have no idea how well it works, or if it's even going to be a true competitor to DLSS 3. The RTX 4070 is also more power efficient. It's not a massive difference, but in our testing you can reduce power usage by around 50 watts for a similar level of performance, so certainly not nothing. Then, the key advantage of the Radeon RX 7800 XT is the extra 4GB of VRAM, packing a 16GB buffer, and generally faster rasterization performance, though as we just saw there's not always a lot in it. And then of course, there's the big one, the price. And the US MSRP is heavily in AMD's favour, with the 7800 XT priced $100 US lower, and that's a nice 17% discount. And given that, the Radeon GPU is quite clearly the obvious choice, at least in my opinion, as it offers just a lot more value. However, that might not be true for all of you, and that's because outside of the US, the 7800 XT pricing, it's just not always that competitive. For example, here in Australia, you could easily purchase an RTX 4070 for 890 Australian dollars, whereas the most affordable 7800 XTs currently cost just $10 less at $880 AUD. So in other words, the 7800 XT and RTX 4070 occupy the same price point here in Australia, and that is true for a lot of other regions. Meanwhile, over in the US, there are 5 RTX 4070 models available at the $600 US MSRP over at Newegg.com, whereas there's just a single 7800 XT at $500 US with 3 models listed, but the rest out of stock. And one of those models is AMD's reference version. So the majority of 7800 XT seem to be priced between $520 and $540 US. Still, that is a good bit cheaper than the RTX 4070. And of course, the 7800 XT was just released last week, while the RTX 4070 has been out in the wild for 5 months now. So, 7800 XT pricing and availability will no doubt improve over the coming weeks and months. But still, here in Australia, the 7800 XT would need to drop to 740 AUD in order to deliver the same great value that we're seeing over in the US. And I'm not convinced that's going to happen anytime soon. I'd say the 7800 XT has to be at least 10% cheaper than the RTX 4070 to be an automatic purchase, and that means 800 Australian dollars is the most AMD can charge. It's a real shame, as the 7800 XT is such great value over in the US, but pretty weak in most other regions. Hopefully this is just an early availability issue and pricing will correct shortly. And lastly, I did run into a few stability concerns with the 7800 XT, with constant crashing in F123 using the high preset, which is a bit odd as the ultra high preset seemed to work okay. Cyberpunk 2077 was also unstable in our testing, especially when using ray tracing, and it's difficult to say if this is just an issue on our end or a problem with the current driver. I did spend several hours trying to solve this issue without success, and interestingly, the 7900 XT didn't suffer the same stability issues in the games just mentioned, so I think this is just an issue with the initial driver release that should be sorted shortly. So in summary, for those of you in the US, the 7800 XT for $500 is the obvious choice. $100 is just a massive discount, and unless you specifically need a GeForce GPU, I'd ignore the RTX 4070 and go with the 7800 XT. However, if pricing in your region looks more like it does here in Australia, you could really go either way, and stuff like frame generation and better power efficiency does make a strong case for the RTX 4070. Of course, let me know which of these GPUs you think's better, and I'll be sure to read your comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more content, because we always have more GPU and CPU and other content coming up on the channel. There could be some very interesting stuff coming later this month, so make sure you are subscribed. Also, you can support us and get some cool perks in return if you subscribe to our Floatplane or Patreon accounts, links to those in the video description. You get access to stuff like monthly live streams. Tim and I get together, we answer your questions live and talk about whatever's been happening throughout the month. We have Q&A stuff, behind the scenes content, and an exclusive Discord server, which is a very cool place to hang out and talk tech. So yeah, but if you're not interested in that, then that's fine. I won't hold it against you. You don't have to subscribe to those accounts, but maybe check them out. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm your host, Steve. See you next time.
UFD Tech went down yesterday, but don't worry, we're all right. If you're a real gamer, you'll buy an iPhone, and if you're a real company, you're gonna go with Intel making these GPUs. Let's get into hot news, everybody. I'm your breakfast. We're gonna be going over the hottest things like fun on the internet. Why do you enjoy breakfast? This Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. We need to address the elephant in the room. We're uploading the video here on UFD Tech after we released this video on our second channel yesterday. UFD Tech is gone again, where I detailed the fact that we got a community guideline strike on our channel for live streaming the Apple event, which normally isn't a big deal. But because we have a long-standing feud with Nintendo where we can't get them to remove their community guidelines warning from our channel for a stupid video that does. So mad. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here. Anyways, we appealed that second one with Apple. I didn't think it was fair, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not a big deal. We lose our channel for a week. They came back after our video was posted saying, we've reviewed your appeal. It looks like you don't violate the community guidelines. So we're totally fine in that regard. Just a little worrying trend, but the core message of this video still stands true regardless of whether or not we can upload videos here on UFD Tech. I should be able to get rid of this Nintendo community guideline strike. If I have to take a course, I'm not going to sue them back. Yeah. But honestly, Nintendo's grip on our channel needs to be removed. So that's been hanging around for a couple of years now. I absolutely stand by that video, even though it got resolved quickly. Thankfully, I don't know
why you got into that fight.
Complaining about it, and they resolved it, but you didn't resolve the key problem, which is I need to get rid of this Nintendo situation. But the developers of Cyberpunk 2077 are wondering if you can get rid of the heat situation on your PC, because the upcoming launch of Cyberpunk 2.0, which somebody said is launching tomorrow. I heard Thursday, but I haven't seen anything confirmed on that. Anyways, one of the devs came out and said, hey, check your system's cooling, because the update to Cyberpunk 2.0 allows it to actually use all 8 cores on a modern Ryzen 7, on a, like I said, being i5 that has 10 cores. These apps now. Yeah, because they can get up to 90% on 8 cores. Now, I think a lot of people misunderstood what this tweet was trying to say. People were like, oh no, it's going to max out my system even more, which is not what he's saying. He's actually saying that you no longer need a mod to actually enable multi-core optimizations across 8 cores. The game will natively do it, which means that your CPU is going to be hit harder, but it's going to be spread across the entire opportunity of whatever CPU you have. So it's not that it runs harder, it's that it runs better, and then therefore can elevate to the next level, especially with all the updates that they make. But I want to share this hilarious video with us for a second, because somebody made a video about Bethesda made Cyberpunk 2077 where they put loading screens in the exact same places that you find them in Starfield. Are you ready for this, Reese? I want to share this hilarious video with us for a second, because somebody made a video about Bethesda made Cyberpunk 2077 where they put loading screens in the exact same places that you find them in Starfield. Are you ready for this, Reese? Oh, sorry, loading screen. Another one. Oh, you're trying to go somewhere? Let's get in the car. Oh, sorry, loading screen. Oh, you want to fast travel somewhere? Loading screen. That one actually does happen. That's true. You want to go through that door? Loading screen. This is painful. Yeah. But you know what? It's not painful. Today's video sponsor, which might be the most apt we've had in a while. Yeah, feels right. Today's video is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. The UFD Tech team, we recently drove all the way across America and back for LTX 2023, and we have the Cannonball for the Cure charity stream that we're doing that's also coming up in October. In that time, we covered 8,000 miles of road with a further 6,000 miles of road that's coming up. And typically, as it happens when you cover that amount of distance, you see some pretty bad driving practices. And I'm pretty always mildly worried on our drive streams about getting into an accident. But thankfully, I know the one thing that I wouldn't be daunted by is the process of getting an injury claim submitted. And while I thankfully haven't had to use them, with Morgan & Morgan, submitting an injury claim is so easy. Morgan & Morgan has modernized the injury law process so you can submit a claim and have it reviewed by a lawyer without ever having to get it. Yeah. You can sign documents, upload pictures, share medical records, and doctor bills all
from your phone. You can even text with your attorney and case manager without having to physically go into an office. When you're injured in an accident, hiring an attorney is one of the first things that you should do. With Morgan & Morgan, submitting a claim is so easy. More than 3 million people have trusted Morgan & Morgan when they were injured in an accident. And if you're ever in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can submit a claim in 8 clicks or less, and you can have America's largest injury law firm fighting for you. You can get started at forthepeople.com/UFD or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell. Big thanks again to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring today's video. Apple didn't use much legal language when it came to launching the iPhone 15 Plus Pro and Pro Max yesterday, especially with regards to the USB-C situation. Those are the new phones we have. USB-C is now included. They honestly were actually quite subdued with the USB-C announcement. They didn't make a big deal about it. They were just like, here's what it is, here's what it unlocks for the things you can do. Specifically talking about with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, the fact that you can get up to 10 gigabits per second USB 3 speeds, which is slower than was rumored. A lot of the rumors were pointing to Thunderbolt level speeds, but as Apple always will do, you don't get the USB 3 cable in the box. You have to go buy one. The cable that's included in the box is USB 2. So you're spending a minimum of $1,000 for the Pro or $1,200 for the Pro Max, and you still have to buy a cable that allows you to get those speeds. So they'll give you the power, they won't give you the speed. Yeah, exactly. But this does unlock a whole new set of features for the 15 Pro and Pro Max, especially when it comes to external monitors, faster external storage, and one of the really cool things they showed off, being able to either take photos directly off of the USB into a different app, or record videos natively to an external SSD. That one was one of the most impressive things that actually fixes one of the biggest complaints that people had with the 14 Pro and Pro Max. Cool, you're letting me shoot in ProRes RAW. You're giving me 1 terabyte of storage, and then I either have to airdrop it, or I have to freaking use USB 2.0 speeds. Whereas now, that's not even a consideration either way. You just shoot to USB-C. Yeah, you're running to a hard drive for that specifically. So this is one of the things that obviously comes with the feature sets of USB-C. It took Apple long enough to get here, but again, doing things in the most Apple way, $29 USB-C to Lightning adapter, which is what you were to see. So some people took your comment to mean USB-C mail to Lightning mail, and that's not what you're talking about, because those do exist. I know those exist. Yeah, $29 in case you want to get the adapter, which of course allows you to continue to use all of your Lightning accessories. Also, Apple, in the cringiest way possible, celebrating all of their eco and green initiatives and the fact that they are getting rid of leather accessories, instead opting for things like fine woven material, which cool, this is part of their 2030 initiative to be carbon neutral at every level for every single device, and now certain things like the bands that aren't the ocean loop are carbon neutral. But of course, it's not a complete iPhone launch without Dbrain casting some shade, especially at the clear cases that companies like Apple tend to make, with them announcing their Ghost case, which they promise is guaranteed to never yellow. Interesting. So I've actually been rocking one of the clear ones, and not only has this thing yellowed, this thing, Calvin, can we get a zoom in on this? It is disgusting. It's nasty. But according to Dbrain, it's because they use a dual tone design. It has the strongest magnets ever. I'm highly interested in that one. And just going over some of the other features of the iPhone 15, has USB-C 2.0 speeds, like a lot of Android devices still do. 48 megapixel camera, essentially taking what was in the Pro from the 14, putting it in the base level this year, additionally adding the dynamic island top little bubble bar. I like that as an addition. They didn't increase the price on anything. The only technical price increase was the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which now starts at $1,200 instead of $1,100, but it comes with 256 gigs of storage, which is what a $1,200 iPhone 14 Pro Max would have cost. Yeah, the baseline is true. Exactly. The Apple Watch 2 Ultra also getting announced, as well as the Series 9. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 having a 3,000 nit display brightness. Or if you want to blind yourself by doing it. Exactly. Absolutely incredible. It's just minor improvements. They also announced with the Series 9 as well as the Ultra 2 that it has tap gestures, so you can tap your fingers to engage with your iPhone, which is a neat action. But with the 15 Pro, they announced that there's a new action button as well as titanium body. I have to say the titanium body looks pretty good. I don't know if I'd like it more than the mirror finish on the previous Pros, but I do like brushed metal. It also has 5x telephoto zoom. It also has the action button, which can be programmable to do different things like work with shortcuts so that it can do multiple actions, or potentially even turn on your flashlight in case you want to do that. The AirPods Pro getting USB-C, and just staying on the titanium thing for a second, I don't have it in here, but they talked about how they developed a new, like, almost powder coating method for the iPhone 15 so that they could get a range of new colors that I think honestly look pretty good on the iPhone 15.
That deep blue one.
That's the lineup. Yeah. This is the lineup of the Pro series, and then this is the lineup of the 15 series. So these are more pastel copy colors, whereas this is more professional for the pros.
Yeah, your business colors.
But one of the neatest things that they announced was, remember back when the Vision Pro got announced, they showed that dad recording video of his daughter?
Felt a little weird.
It was odd because I was like, who is going to do that? It's cool that you get to watch it back and be there, but you're not being there during the filming. Well, spatial video can now be taken with iPhone 15 Pro using 2 of the back cameras, which I saw somebody say, well, that's not the same focal distance or it's not the same separation as your eyes. But I think with them being wider focal lengths than our eyes, they can punch in to match. And so I don't think that's necessarily going to be a problem. And that could actually solve the problem of you can still be there and kind of hold your phone and engage instead of having this giant, just monstrosity on your face.
I'm not taking that to the beach.
You're not a trendsetter. You don't stand for Apple things.
The example.
Get off my launch. No. Also, Apple expanded their whole SOS system with satellite connection. You can now have emergency SOS that works with AAA so that you can get covered for all the things that roadside assistance can help you with. But would it be an Apple event if they didn't take some things away? The 13 mini, now dead, not happening. No announcement of a new iPhone SE out there. Just small phones. People don't buy them enough volumes for Apple to continue to make them. But now this is the coolest thing that Apple did yesterday. They teased it at some point when they were talking about the A17 Pro chip before they discussed all of this next part. They mentioned something that made me think immediately. This is actually Apple Silicon, and they just unlocked Apple Silicon to run certain games natively, like Resident Evil Village, as well as, wasn't it Death Stranding was announced to come out for Apple Silicon, something like that. Turns out that means that with how powerful the A17 Pro is, 19 billion transistors, something like that, built on TSMC's 3 nanometer, 6-core CPU, I believe it was 5-core GPU, can run on the device, not cloud streaming, not from your MacBook, on the iPhone 15 Pro itself.
You want to get a chance.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, Death Stranding, Resident Evil Village, and Resident Evil 4 Remake.
When I saw this part of the announcement, that made me stop everything else I was doing and go, whoa.
You can play actual AAA games on your phone running on the local hardware. I'm going to guarantee, based on the footage that they showed, it is not running at a high resolution.
No.
It was pixelated to crap, but it still ran locally, especially with all of this transition that Apple has been putting the money into to get all of the programs to stop running on x86 and start running on ARM. This is a huge part of the transition to what Apple's doing. I'm excited for this part.
If you had told me we would have AAA games on a phone, even just like 2 years back, I would laugh.
Okay, you want to laugh at something a little bit more. So you know how we've been hearing people being like, I hope NVIDIA and AMD stop making GPUs so that AAA games can get ported properly. What if these games sell so well on the iPhone that they're just like, Ubisoft is like, you know what? Don't release anything to the PC anymore. We're just going to stay on Apple. And the whole development scheme goes to Apple.
Can you imagine if this is just a market shift now? And
I'm not predicting that. It's a possibility that has now opened
There's
itself
guys
up
up top there.
to the most popular phone in the world, single phone brand. Like the iPhone can make some moves in the gaming industry if people buy it. It's something. You know what else is something?
Deals. And hey, welcome back to Yifty Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. I haven't said that in a while.
Took us a long time to get here, I'll tell you that.
But hey, first up we have the Solidigm P41 Plus NVMe M.2 SSD, this 1TB version. You can pick up for only $29.99 with the included promo code.
Would that have helped UFD deals to load faster today?
It would.
Okay.
And then next up we have the Corsair K65 RGB Mini 60% mechanical gaming keyboard, going for only $49.99, making it $60 off.
I don't know why you do this, and I've never talked to you about it, but it's bothered me every single time I've watched you do it. You can just round up.
No.
You can say 50.
No. And then lastly, we have the Logitech G Pro X wired gaming headset, which you can pick up for only $89.99, making it $40 off. With that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. And until next time, I'm going to hand you back to Brett for the rest of your highlights.
A small deal for you, Reese. The world's smallest VR headset finally shipping. Big Screen Beyond actually getting these things out the door.
So your screen is making... It's
you know Big Screen.
Yeah, they have an app that I use.
For what?
It just creates like a virtual environment that you can like chill in with friends and watch movies on like a shared screen. And
yeah, they're making a 127-gram VR headset that is 4 times lighter than the Meta Quest 2. It uses pancake lens with micro OLED displays, getting 5120 by 2560 resolution at 90 hertz. They 3D scan your face to make sure it's actually going to fit. What? Actually, some pretty cool stuff. Do you want to try these out before you leave?
Absolutely.
Big Screen would have to call us. I don't know how to do that. But you know how you deliver data like that? Using good cables. And you think USB-C with iPhone 15 is the beat. Turns out not. Intel stealing Apple's thunder and announcing Thunderbolt 5, which...
God damn, that's what I get for trying to craft you, of course.
Nearly identical.
It was very, very similar.
This is 3 times as fast. You do 120 gigabits per second, 8K up to 540 hertz, 3 4K displays at 144 hertz. They're calling it a single cable for your notebooks. Absolutely insane bandwidth numbers. So it's 80 gigabits, looks like is guaranteed, and then there's an optional boost bandwidth for 50%.
We finally have the bandwidth now for external GPUs.
Yes, so that's a big deal. That was actually my next slide, was the fact that 120 gigabits per second is equivalent to 15 gigabytes a second. So it's very close to an 8 times PCI Express 4.0 lane, which is basically a full PCI Express 3.0 lane. So you're not running 4090s, but you're going to be able to run a 30 series, a 30 series, and actually hopefully max that out. Now it's also going to have power delivery requirements that are going to be built into that. Minimum 15 watts. It's compliant with USB 4. This is still based on USB-C, but the actual protocol for how it transmits all of that is changing. I am heckin' excited about Thunderbolt 5.
Very cool itself.
Very thumbs up from me. But Liam Lee gives Fantex a thumbs down because they're so violating with regards to their lineup or how those fans connect together. Filed a lawsuit after Liam Lee was granted this patent in June of 2020. This lawsuit was filed in May of 2023 for the Glacier One 360D30 CPU cooler, which this is what the Fantex one looks like. That's not quite what the Liam Lee one looks like, but maybe it uses the same technology, just located in a different situation. Obviously, this is what lawsuits are for. Actually figuring out how far does this application go in this physical dimension. I'm not sure. I'm not a patent lawyer, but we'll find out. And we'll also find out how fast NVIDIA GPUs can go on Starfield as soon as they continue to patch them, because there's reports coming out that if you modded your resizable bar yourself, you could get faster FPS in Starfield.
Interesting.
NVIDIA said, okay, hey, we fixed it already. It's now in a driver update. So that it changes the resizable bar profile. They're saying, on average, 5% increase in RTX 40 series performance, which is pretty good for a single thing. Yeah, just a single profile that had to be enabled. Not a ton of tweaking that needed to go on.
They're being quite proactive with the updates specifically for Starfield.
Yes, and Intel being very proactive when it comes to the AI front, which is something that pains my heart to talk about because I don't want Intel to focus on gaming GPUs. But AI GPUs, they put out new benchmarks before their upcoming Gaudi 2 accelerator. They showed that it can actually stand with NVIDIA's high-end stuff.
Interesting.
At least in the benchmarks that they chose. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. Principal technology shenanigans, have happened before where like benchmarks get skewed. But they show that the Gaudi 2, at least in GPT J99, can get nearly 79 queries per second, whereas the H100 is at about 85.5. So obviously, depending on the pricing, the Gaudi 2 can be very competitive with NVIDIA on that front. The GPT J99 offline throughput, it's about 85-84% of where NVIDIA is. So it does look like it gets very close to the H100, beats the A100, NVIDIA's past generation, and looks like it's going to be putting Intel into a very serious conversation with regards to AI graphics cards.
This will be interesting to see how either changes the market up behind the scenes that we don't really see much about until there's a big overwhelming wave.
Yes, so that is essentially why I include this in hot news. I don't expect any of you to go out and buy a Gaudi 2 or an H100. But what I do want to bring up is the conversation surrounding that NVIDIA just had a $13 billion quarter, with $10 billion of that coming from their AI accelerators. They don't have that quarter if AMD and Intel have reasonably priced alternatives. Yeah, they have a good quarter. They probably make 4, 5, maybe let's say $7 billion. They don't triple their gaming numbers, they double them, which allows them to still realize, hey, we need to keep this entire gaming GeForce sector on board. We need to keep competitive in that in order for us to actually win on all fronts. So I think Intel getting into this game, showing some good numbers, hopefully it gets adopted at some point, makes it so that gamers could win eventually.
It could be good for the average Joe. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. Speaking of the average Joe, let's do some comment response. Joan Evans, author, I tried to turn that into Joe, saying, excellent prediction about USB on the iPhone. I'm sure you'll be spot on with that. I wasn't. Honestly, they did not spend too much time on USB at all. As far as they needed to talk about it with the 15 Pro, and even less on the regular 15. They were just like, hey, we have it now. It enables these things.
Here's this thing.
You want it here, USB. Yeah, so I was wondering. Firebean says, if you guys happen to have a Vega 64 lying around, you should benchmark it with Starfield. The results are quite interesting. I don't have a single Vega card, but everybody was like, what happens? What happens? He didn't respond. Firebean, come on. What are you trying to tell us? Who has a Vega card? Who tests that in Starfield? Please let us know. Octagonal Square brings up, didn't Apple actually have a hand in creating the USB-C standard? Wouldn't this be one of the few times they kind of did make it? Yes. So that is part of the joke, is that they were involved in the USB-I decision on how to make USB-C. So a bunch of other companies. They were not the only one, but they did obviously have a lot of needs that they wanted to bake into it, like Thunderbolt, DisplayPort, all that kind of stuff, because Apple's big thing was Thunderbolt.
Yeah. And it just led to smaller laptops overall. They wanted to be a part of the conversation when it came to that.
So. Yeah, they launched the MacBook with USB-C early on in 2016.
It was the first device that I went and saw personally that had USB-C, and I went into the store specifically just to see it.
Yep. So it's interesting. Coconut has a decent point saying Black I/O on a graphics card looks good, but try to fit an HDMI cable into an HDMI port if it's in a row with 3 display ports under a desk. I hear you. I understand your pain and your difficulty. I say you kind of normally only have to do it once.
For my personal experience, I'm doing it once in a while to flashlight on my phone. That's really all I can say to this.
Z-Shrink says the Catalan cam at the end was perfect. I agree. And then we're going to leave off with Zoth, who said, man, I love a stomach.
Keep pushing them between us.
Almost as good as Deal Master's yummy deals.
Yummy deals.
Yummy deal, man. No. Sorry, Tyler scolded me. See if tomorrow for hot news, friends. This channel. Wow. Surprise. I thought we were done for a week. I'm glad that we're still here.
Alex comes in with a graphics card upgrade question. I love this question because this is something we talk about quite often.
Yeah. Alex says, since the RX 6700 GPU is $270 on UA, do you think it's worth it to upgrade from a 66 for 1080p gaming, mostly Call of Duty Modern Warfare?
We need heavy ammo.
And Fortnite.
Buy Windows 10 Professional for $15. Activate instantly online with Microsoft and keep it forever. Don't pay full
I need heavy
price.
ammo.
Get the best deal from our sponsor, URCD Keys, using our link in the video description below. Full details on how this amazing deal works at the end of the video. Alex, thank you very much for the question and the support. Come here. We need to take a walk. The RX 6600 is a $200 8GB RDNA 2 graphics card. The RX 6700 is a $270 10GB RDNA 2 graphics card. Take a wild guess how much faster 6700 is versus 6600.
20% or less.
Well, that's random, but I mean just in general.
5 to 10%.
Is that?
Oh, it's better than that, but I'll bet you if you don't have the frame rate counter on,
You would
I don't know that you'd know 1080p. Not in Modern Warfare 2.
know your bank account was $270 more lighter.
I mean, it's a little faster. That is a single card step up. I mean, okay, there is a 6600 XT and a 6650 XT buried in between those two. It's basically a minor, and it's not even a 6700 XT with 12 gigs of VRAM. It's the half step, half card.
Black market here.
That is quite possibly one of the worst uses of money I can imagine. If you're going to upgrade, as a general rule, let's talk about general rules for everybody watching. If you're going to upgrade your graphics card, aim for a 100% performance boost. This way, you put it in, you launch your game, and you're like, that is clearly faster. Wow. If you're going to spend the money and the time to replace your graphics card, be wowed. Get a wow experience. Tiny 20-30% upgrades that barely move the needle. Why? That's like owning a 2021 Honda Civic LX and buying a 2022 Honda Civic EX and going, but I upgraded my car. Yeah, I guess. Got a few thousand fewer miles and it's a slightly nicer trim. The radio's got 2 more knobs on it. It's, if you're going to upgrade enough that you go, a true car upgrade would be going from a 2017 Honda Civic EX to a 2023 Honda Civic Touring or Elite with all the upgrades. Then you get into it and go, I upgraded. This is a new car. Everything has changed. It's nicer. It's whatever. Okay, car analogies can fall down in the computer world, but that is the tiniest, most meaningless upgrade I can possibly imagine.
So you should go from a 6600 to a 1080p. Call of Duty.
I wouldn't even do a 6700.
Stick together.
It's not enough.
Or we ain't getting out of this.
A 6800. A 6800 would be noticed, but a 1080p.
Move together as one. There's people over there.
He doesn't list the CPU.
We don't have to go up to it. We don't have to go up to it.
RDNA 3's lower end cards to launch. The RX 70
get in over here.
XT or 7800 XT, which are not out at the time of this recording.
So everyone's pushing into that area.
But they might be a
Third party government.
The 7900 XT is such a completely different price class. I wouldn't even put it there because that's $700. I mean, that's a different price category.
It's much different price category. Looks like it's looking to be under 300.
There's nothing to upgrade to then. If he's looking to do another comment, if he wants to stay under $300, there's nothing to upgrade to. You need to wait for the next generation of cards to come out. This is the only issue I have with the 6600. Now I love the 6600. It's a great value for $200. It's a great 1080p card. But it does leave something on the table. You can't just run Ultra everything at 1080p. It's gonna fall apart. You want to take a step, basically whatever everybody recommends for the next resolution up. If you want a 1080p
Where are you looking?
card, buy whatever everybody says is the 1440p card, which in this case would be the 6700 XT. And if you had bought it on day one, if you bought that originally instead of the 6600, he'd be fine. Interestingly enough, this is where I'm going to get in trouble with some people. A lot of people say that the RTX 4070 is a 1440p card. But with 12 gigs of VRAM, it will age like milk.
It will. And you've said that so far.
I actually think price be done.
Where are you getting hit from? Who's getting hit from where?
The RTX 4070 with 12 gigs of VRAM is the best ultra everything 1080p card on the market today. For $600 freaking RAM is the best ultra VRAM card. But with 12 gigs of VRAM, it will age like milk.
It will. And you've said that so far.
I actually think price be darned because it's a stupid number. The RTX 4070 with 12 gigs of VRAM is the best ultra everything 1080p card on the market today.
And that's what I got.
For $600 freaking dollars. I am not endorsing that as a good strategy. Shame on Nvidia for that nonsense price. I am not saying that's a good thing in any way, shape, or form. But if you want an ultra everything 1080p, high frame rate, high detail, you're not at 4070. Looking for a Windows 10 or 11 product key, but you don't want to spend $100 to $200 for it? Our sponsor, URCD Keys, provides discounted Windows keys at amazing prices. $15 for Windows 10 Professional, $21 for Windows 11 Professional, and just $60 for Microsoft Office 2021 Professional Plus. These product keys are the real deal. They activate directly with Microsoft Online, link to your Microsoft account, and they work forever. For Windows, you simply go to Settings, Update and Security, Activation.
I get hit from the outside.
Product key, paste the key provided
Northeast 60.
and in seconds, you're activated with Microsoft. For Office, go to setup.office.com, sign in with your Microsoft account, paste the product key provided by URCD Keys, and then download Office 2021 Pro Plus directly from Microsoft. Remember to use the discount code TD20 to save 25% off the already deeply discounted prices and support our channel at the same time. We have been using product keys from URCD Keys for almost 5 years now without any issues and encourage you to do so as well. Now, you know what else it could be? Is a used 3080. And those can be had for less. You can get those for about $400. A used, of course, probably so many of those have been mined on. The dirty C word. But a lot of those have been mined on, but a used 3080 would be great for that. Isn't it amazing to think about the fact that the 3080 is drifting all the way down to 1080p already?
Yeah.
The problem there is the VRAM. 16 gigs is going to be the new 1440p VRAM number.
Yeah.
Not
We should probably move.
Not in every game and not today, but soon enough, and with enough titles over the next 2 years, that if somebody drops $600 on a 4070 today, God forbid $800 on a 4070 Ti with 12 gigs of VRAM, over the next 2 years are going to be tragically disappointed.
Please what you said about 37 years back.
I did. I called the 3070 a 1080p card. Nobody yelled at me.
People lie.
Was I wrong?
No. No.
Nope.
No. No.
Only been doing this 30 years.
Yeah.
What line up? So, Alex, thanks for the support, but just keep your 6600. Wait for the lower end RDA 3 cards to come out, or prices to get better, or options available on the. There's nothing you can do for $300. It's worth the time.
I only have one shield battery and a. Oh, dude, I can heal you, Dexter Cheetos, if you get to me.
You just looks like said love.
Recharging my shields.
Another squad corner. I shattered an enemy's shield.
I'm out of heavy ammo.
I have no more heavy ammo. I have no heavy ammo. I've only got one gun to use now.
Switch. We killed some bodies.
Recharging shields.
I'm spotted. Taking fire. Careful if you need. Recharging my shields.
Recharging shields.
Grenade. Put some hits on me.
Deploying me knuckle. Don't get too happy.
Charging my shields off a bit.
I'm under fire.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
Dropping the muzzle low. Mind your head. Stand back. Knuckle clusters firing.
Healing.
Grenade, heads up. Being damaged. Let rip. Juicing me shields.
Shields are depleted. Recharging.
Only 2 other squads left.
Behind you, Speed.
Recharging me shields.
Just giving my shields a recharge. 45 seconds. Rings close.
Still have no heavy ammo.
Reloading.
These bonds aren't easily broken. They should have run faster.
Rings near with 30 on the clock. Let's move. Shooting a frag.
Opening fire.
Watching me arm star. Shooting a thermite. Launching me knuckle cluster.
Second squad. Adjust your strategy. Recharging shields.
Back tower. Back damage, fellas. Being sighted.
Men, let me tell ya, the final ring is closing in.
Enemy killed.
Woo! Yeah, baby! Holy shit, we got that one! What the fuck? I can't believe that.
Shalko says, GG.
You are the Apex champion.
Shit happens quick right there. And when it happened, we went for it. No kills, really? But that much damage. Well there. I'll take it though. That's a good win. Maybe we should just end on that one.
You just coming up right now, and it's looking like how? Wow.
Adobe Firefly, sick bitch.
the most wild WWDC in years, the iPhone 15 keynote had unreasonable expectations placed upon it, and by consequence, underwhelmed many. I am actually perfectly whelmed. Not blown away, but fine. There were a few things that really pissed me off, though. The keynote started out with a tearjerker of a video about how if you're rich enough to afford the latest Apple products, your life will be saved in an emergency. And then Tim talked about everything that they've done this year, from the Vision Pro to 16-inch MacBook Air, a classic stalling measure that suggested this keynote would be on the lighter side. They did have a shout-out for MKBHD, though, which I thought was amazing. So cool to see, given that like a decade ago, reviewers like he and I, we weren't even invited to it, much less taken seriously. And now they're quoting him in a keynote. Super awesome. Kudos, Marquez. Okay, first up on the upgrade list, the Apple Watch Series 9. From the outside, it looks identical for like the third year in a row. But on the inside, there is a new S9 SoC, or SiP as they call it. It appears to be the first watch chip since 2019 that's not based on the A13 Bionic, which presumably means that it's using a 5-nanometer process, maybe 4-nanometer. It doesn't really matter. It's still dual-core, but the transistor count, because of the process shrink, is up 60% in the CPU, and a new neural engine takes over a lot of ML tasks like on-device Siri processing. I actually think this is a huge deal. The watch is where people use Siri the most, given its limited input capabilities, but it's also on the watch that Siri is often the slowest and most frustrating to use, so any improvement at all is welcome. Dictation is also alleged to be 25% more accurate. If this pans out, I think this is going to feel like a much bigger upgrade than the last 3 years of stale watch improvements. Siri will also gain the ability to access health data. Being able to log your weight and when medication was taken is super cool. And then to get notified of health goal progress and health alerts further highlights the watch's fitness and wellness strengths. The other internal changes are a new ultra-wideband chip, which we'll talk about when we get to the iPhone, and a new display that goes up to 2,000 nits, double that of the Series 8, which will make outside legibility much better. It can also lower itself all the way down to a single nit, which is awesome if you're using it for sleep tracking or if you're in a movie theater. But the biggest advertised feature coming to Watch Series 9 is what Apple calls Double Tap. Ironically, it will not be available from launch, but is coming sometime next month. Why do you keep doing this? Just have it ready or wait to ship the product. Anyway, you'll soon be able to tap your thumb and index fingers together to perform gestures, just like on the upcoming Vision Pro, but also just like Assistive Touch, which is a years-old Apple Watch accessibility feature. And not only can you double tap, you can single tap, clench your fist, and flick your wrist to navigate through the entire Watch UI without ever touching the crown or display. I used it on my Watch Series 4 and 5, and it was awesome. Double tap on Series 9, it's going to display a little blue bubble that will indicate to you when you can perform a double tap action, amongst which is pausing music, answering calls, stopping a timer, replying to messages, and more. But what's fishy about this new feature is that it's only available on the newest Apple Watch. And Apple alludes to the fact that it requires the S9 because it needs that new neural processor. But, yeah, what? So while Double Tap looks cool, unless it's vastly more reliable and accurate than Assistive Touch, I don't see any reason why there is this generational exclusivity BS, and it actually makes Apple's extensive sustainability segment even more grating than it already was. Apple spent a large portion of the keynote, I'm talking like 15 minutes total probably, about environmental consciousness and the legitimate, noble efforts that they're making to do better, like the commitment to have no plastic in any of their packaging by the end of next year, or using 100% recycled aluminum in their iPads and laptops. They even stated that they're running every Apple office and data center on 100% clean energy today, and not just in the typical corporate greenwashing way of buying carbon credits. They're legitimately running a number of facilities on 100% renewables already. I don't want to sound pessimistic because those efforts are noble and their accomplishments are good, but they also come with a holier-than-thou arrogance that seems hypocritical to anybody that has noticed their years-long fight against right-to-repair advocacy groups. Now, Apple did explicitly mention the iPhone 15 Pro was designed with repairability in mind. This is the first time they've ever done something like this. But it's certainly with asterisks and exceptions and boundaries that they aim to unilaterally define, just as they already have with their existing mediocre self-service repair program. Additionally, I question their reasoning for abandoning leather watch straps and cases that theoretically biodegrade, as opposed to their new 82% recycled sport band and plastic drive cases, which are still using at least 18% or more virgin material and will never biodegrade. But I admit that I'm lacking knowledge here, so be that as it may. We'll leave it as it is. But yeah, the right to repair stuff, pretty hypocritical. Well, we got an Apple Watch Ultra 2. That's the naming scheme, I guess. And in addition to the S9's features, it inherits an improved altimeter, an insanely bright 3000 nit display. Goodbye, retinas. The sun. Other than that, it's the same. No color variations and no smaller size. I guess they literally don't want to sell me one. I'm not asking for much, just a little smaller. Okay, on to the iPhone. I don't know what I've been waiting longer for. iPhone with USB-C or a powerful web browser that doesn't consume every available system resource like Chrome. Today's sponsor is Sigma OS, an omnipotent tool to navigate the web lightning fast using every hotkey under the sun. You can use these hotkeys to, say, open a split screen mode for multitasking, or a focus mode if you'd like to monotask. There is a command bar which allows you to, well, issue commands like new calendar event, or if you're less productive, new tweet. Hotkeys can also open your password manager. They can snooze pages for later. They can perform quick searches that return you right back from whence you came, and a whole lot more. There's a built-in ad blocker and powerful search tool to find every tab you have open, but you're not going to need to do that because workspaces help you neatly organize and isolate your workflows. You can even run multiple sessions on different user accounts simultaneously. If you have lots of Google accounts, this is a godsend. The browser is light on resources and runs blazing fast thanks to Safari's WebKit engine, but Sigma OS gives you the ability to run Chrome extensions as if they were native. I haven't even scraped the surface here. There's AI, powerful Teams integrations, and more. So try Sigma OS today free for up to 3 workspaces, and if you find the need to upgrade, you can do so for $10 a month. Unlimited everything. Click the link in the video description or pinned comment below to download it. Rest in peace, Lightning. You were loved, but you lived way too long. Real talk, upon release in 2012, in a world of ubiquitous micro-USB devices, Lightning was legitimately great. In many ways, it's still better than USB-C. Has a smaller, yet higher insertion and removal force connector, has better water and dust resistance, and it has beefier pins that are less likely to corrode over time. Though when they do, they're trickier to fix and a lot more expensive because they're device side rather than cable side. But USB-C, while not perfect, is exactly what the doctor ordered. And it has been years now that I have needed one cable for my iPhone and one cable for literally everything else. It was annoying. Apple is basically 8 years late to the game, but they finally arrived. Better late than never. I hope this means that we will never see a Lightning-based Apple product released ever again. I'm talking keyboards and my keyboard. Oh, there's literally 2 fire trucks and an ambulance outside. Hope everything's okay. Must be the Galaxy S23 fire sale. Okay, so those iPhones. The iPhone 15 is really pretty boring because it doesn't inherit much that's really new, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad phone. In fact, I think it's the biggest upgrade that the standard iPhone has gotten in years. We get last year's A16 Bionic SoC, the excellent pro camera system, including the 2x digital crop zoom. There's the dynamic island, a 2 times brighter display, and matte textured rear glass with colors made possible by the most insanely absurd marketing gibberish of all time. The only major hardware change I can see is a new ultra-wideband chip. You know, that thing that lets you find AirTags. This has been updated to support 3 times greater find distances and can even be used to find a friend's location once you're within the GPS is no longer useful range. Pretty cool. The chip is also found on the new watches, and it can even locate your iPhone beyond the previously audio ping only feature, which is pretty cool. Not much new comes in the way of software, save for 2 things that do seem pretty neat. First up, you can now request roadside assistance through AAA in a non-emergency situation via the satellite mode. When you're without cell service, which is rad and does happen. Something much more likely to be used than, being stranded in the desert. Second, all photos will now be captured with a depth map when the neural engine detects a subject. human or animal-wise, which allows for retroactive portrait mode application. As someone who never uses portrait mode, I seriously looked. I took 7 portrait mode photos with my iPhone 14 Pro because I always forget and it's slow. This sounds superb. Furthermore, you'll even be able to change what appears in focus after the fact. It's like Lytro all over again. And at least in the sample pictures that Apple showed, the depth field window and bokeh effect applied seems a lot more realistic than what I think it used to feel like. Hopefully, that is indeed the case. Moving on to the Pro phones, we talk about titanium
design.
They may have said titanium more times today than they said 5G back in 2020. 5G to 5G. Just kidding. That's impossible. Yes, heavy stainless steel has been abandoned in favor of titanium. As a bit of an analog watch buff, though I am not wearing one right now, I was curious to see how they would polish and anodize the metal, 2 things very tricky to do with titanium. And well, there are smart folks over there. They did neither of these things. The frame is brushed, which is a good move since titanium is softer than stainless steel and will scratch more easily. It's also almost impossible to polish unless you are a Japanese wizard. And rather than anodizing, which is very difficult to do with consistency when it comes to titanium, Apple has chosen to do a PVD coating like they did with their older titanium Apple Watch models. And let me warn you, deeper scratches through that PVD coating will reveal natural titanium underneath and will be most notable with the black and blue finishes. Wait for Titanium Gate. It's going to happen. I, to avoid this, will be helping myself to the gorgeous natural titanium color anyways. A titanium frame means a lesser weighty phone, 9% less to be exact. And the phone will feel noticeably lighter. However, as a man who has been happily using an iPhone 12 mini for the last little bit, any Pro phone will seem heavy regardless of metal type due to huge batteries, heavy cameras, and more. This explains why the Pro phones, even though they're using titanium, are still 10% heavier than the non-Pro variants. Another exterior change, to clarify, this isn't important. I know titanium is heavier than aluminum. It's like 2/3 heavier, but you don't need as much titanium to have the same rigidity, so therefore the titanium frames will be less thick. Don't worry about it. Point in case is that there's another exterior change inspired by the Apple Watch Ultra. Gone is the beloved mute switch found on every iPhone since day one. There's a button now, and it by default toggles to, well, still mute. But it is a button that is programmable to a number of different actions. Focus modes, camera, flashlight, voice memos, translate, even shortcuts that you can set to launch a specific application, or yes, toggle rotation. The iPad's rotation lock switch makes its glorious return in phone form. Weirdly, it seems that you can only program one action to the button, period, including the mute toggle. Only holding the button down actually triggers an action. No single or double tap support, which seems really stupid. Furthermore, the UI for selecting which you would like to use is bizarre. It looks pretty, but doesn't match iOS at all. It's as if it were straight out of a Xiaomi device instead. Kind of gives me Vision Pro vibes a little bit. Is this an indication of what's to come for iOS, or just a one-off UX element that will be replaced in a couple of years' time when this button is no longer the hot feature? I don't know. Time will tell. Fire trucks are leaving. The inside of the Pro phones house an A17 Pro SoC. This is the first time we've ever gotten a Pro moniker, and I have an idea as to why. No, it's not because it's the industry's first 3nm chip, although that is cool, and no, it's not due to the new onboard crazy GPU. It is the USB 3 controller. Mark my words. The Pro phones got USB 3 support for transferring files, specifically video and photos, to a computer or external drive. Now, USB 3 isn't slow at 10 gigabits per second, or about 1.25 gigabytes per second, but it's hardly fast, and it is certainly a lot slower than the iPhone's onboard NVMe storage can handle. Why we didn't get USB 4 or Thunderbolt is frankly beyond me. Maybe next year, but yes, that controller is on package, which means that the iPhone 15 with last year's chip can only transfer data at USB 2.0 speeds because that's what the SoC supports. This, make no mistake, is abominable. But to make matters worse, I presume that the A17 Pro will strip out this USB 3 I/O controller and perhaps even more components when it makes its way to the base model iPhone 16 next year as a rebranded A17 Bionic or something of that nature. Mark my words, it will happen. All right, back to the SoC. It is the same big little design as last year with 2 performance and 4 efficiency cores. But the P cores are 10% faster, and the efficiency cores are, quote, also faster.
Our efficiency cores are also faster and remain unmatched in the industry.
We literally said that, which makes me think that this is a very small single-digit performance increase. Now, most of this process shrink appears to have gone to the new 16-core neural engine that's reportedly twice as fast as the prior chip was, which should mean that onboard ML tasks, of which there are an increasing number, natural language processing, computer vision, AR, computational photography, etc., will all get huge performance and efficiency increases. It will also help the GPU, which too has new gains, at a 20% speed increase thanks to an extra core, and also gains hardware-accelerated ray tracing. Apple showed off a sizzle reel of games as they always do, but then they just casually dropped the biggest news of, I think, the whole day, that the full native AAA console versions of Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and the new Assassin's Creed Mirage will soon be playable exclusively on the iPhone 15 Pro. This is amazing for a few reasons. Number one, that a phone with no fan can run these games at all. Now, we'll see what kind of graphical compromises, metal effects upscaling, and super sampling wizardry they're going to have to use to make this happen, but if it works even at all, that's amazing. 2, the smartphone is the most powerful game console on the planet, but full-price AAA games, they're going to be done before. And if it works, the iPhone could help decrapify the free-to-play garbage space that it helps create, perhaps on accident, and gain market share as a legitimate competitor to dedicated game consoles. 3, by bringing games to the iPhone, they will by consequence come to the Mac. Games that the Mac has never or will never have sufficient market share to command, making it, finally, a viable alternative to a gaming PC. I can't say much more because our information is very limited, but I am super excited about the potential. Excited, like I am, for the only remaining headline feature of the iPhone 15 Pro, the camera system. There is an upgraded quad-layer main sensor with unspecified performance gains that now shoots in 24 megapixels by default rather than 12 megapixels, bringing with it enhanced detail while maintaining that same great low-light performance that we found on the iPhone 14 Pro. Additionally, you can now shoot a full 48 megapixel readout in favorable lighting conditions to heat, rather than just to...
What the fuck just happened to you bitches?
For enhanced detail, but in a ready-to-share file size. One other new feature that I'm a little confused about, but cautiously optimistic towards,
I gotta
is
stop
being able
switching
to
with
choose
these.
an equivalent focal length for the default camera lens. 24 millimeters is the default, but you can also choose 28 or 35 millimeters. This is cool, but to my understanding, it's essentially just performing a digital zoom. Now, it has the whole neural engine behind it, so it will probably still look good, but I'm curious to see how they handle distortion and anti-aliasing, pixel binning, etc. We'll find out next week. Additionally, I would like some praise because I predicted this. Thanks, you don't have to clap. Just leave a comment down below. I predicted this next item perfectly. Because Apple knows that everybody buying a Vision Pro next year is rich and weird enough to also buy these new phones, the iPhone 15 Pro will shoot 3D spatial videos starting not today, but soon, later this year. That will be available on Apple's headset next year. And now we get to the last iPhone camera thing. The iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max reintroduce fragmentation from within the Pro lineup for the first time in a few years, thanks to the addition of an exclusive 5x 120mm equivalent telephoto on the Pro Max. Now, unlike periscope lenses that have shipped before on other smartphones, this uses a spherical circular lens to fold and refract the light 4 times through a prism to a sensor that is beside but parallel to the lens array. The theoretical benefit is greater light sensitivity than other periscopes in a tighter space. The sensor not only shifts on the X and Y axis for stabilization, but even on the Z axis for autofocus. Pretty cool. There's even a little overlay in the UI so that you don't get lost zoomed in. Handy, but I will say that of the very few samples Apple provided, none of them looked particularly good. They didn't look bad, and with an f2.8 aperture, photos will certainly be less noisy than the f4 Plus lenses found on comparable flagship Android phones, but those phones offer a lot more telescopic zoom, like 230 millimeters or more. And if the photo ain't gonna look good anyways, I would rather it look not good, but with more zoom. You feel? So here's hoping that with its 120 million, less zoomed up photo, it will create shots that are nice looking enough that, you'll want to use them. Hopefully it's more than what my gut tells me it might be. But I don't know if I'm going to be the one to tell you that, though, because I'm not sure I'm going to be buying the Pro Max iPhone, because I've been using this iPhone 12 mini for a few weeks, and I went back to my 14 Pro yesterday and was like, this thing is huge. So moving from this to not just a Pro, but to a Pro Max, it ain't going to happen. That's me, though. What do you want to do? What do you think of the keynote? Are you disappointed? Are you excited? What did you order? Or what will you order? Let me know in the comments down below. And most importantly, and as always, stay safe.
I did not expect today to go down with Doug Sensor Martin beefing with an Activision employee or a supposed employee, but here we are, just enjoying all this together. If you guys don't know Sensor, an aspiring Call of Duty pro, I use that jokingly because if you know Sensor, he's one of the more passionate Call of Duty pros, players, streamers, whatever you want to refer to him as in the space. So it was definitely something to see him go after a supposed Activision employee who was going after him on Twitter. All of this kickstarted by a tweet, I believe, where this alleged employee, who's apparently a QA tester over at Activision, so definitely lower end of things, calling him an aspiring Call of Duty player, to which he had to respond, saying, working at the company for the game, I won 2 national championships playing, and hating on success like this is insane, but you do you. And then further revealing apparent DMs between the two, saying this is the definition of a victim mentality. We all can be a victim regardless of circumstance. Is this bullying or educating? You decide. Doug saying to this person known as Lex, just letting you know for future success, because of your comment, I automatically would never associate with you. You talk like that. Winners don't care for you in need. Use that future success. Best of luck. They say promoting your fan base to bully someone online is wild, yet you think you're the better person here somehow. LMAO, that's crazy. And Doug says, then don't interact with me. And from what little I've seen of this exchange, we have some important tidbits coming up next as well. I mean, it seemed like this person had been going around and leaving replies to a lot of people in the Call of Duty space, which if your employment is true, you are a QA tester for Activision, and you are responding with toxic things, or even jokes and jabs at players and creators in the Call of Duty space, incredibly inappropriate, and you are definitely putting your job at risk even just by doing that, especially as a QA tester. Why are you trash talking actual players and creators? I'm just saying I have seen and heard from the replies other people being responded to apparently by this same person, to which Doug then responded, as Doug fashion he does multiple times, and with a video addressing the situation.
Hey guys, so I just did my 6-hour pull-up section. I failed it at 4 hours, or 3 hours and 45 minutes, but, I'm all about promoting people just being better and being great. We got this Activision employee. I'm going to be very careful with her because I don't like the way that they interact with people. They try to take everything you say and they try to twist it into something that's really not. But there's this Activision employee who is questioning my work ethic and questioning if I can compete and do pull-ups at the same time. And I find it a little bit weird coming from the company that I've quite literally dedicated my entire life to. And it's the thing to me that bothers me is that I personally would work forever to gain respect in things that I love, like Call of Duty, and I felt that I gained the respect, and I felt like I lost some of the respect because of the Nadia stuff. Activision really didn't like that stuff behind closed doors, and it seems like to me that anytime I interact with someone at Activision, they always have these little snarky comments. It's never anything supportive, it's never anything nice, it's never anything good, and it just seems like they want to hold a grudge in some way. So you know what, we're just going to flip this thing around and I'll let you guys decide. Is this truly a bullying moment or an educational moment? Because
no,
and everything, I see the good in me and I see the bad in me and I see everyone around me too, and I'm not trying to promote the bad in anyone. I'm not promoting bullying. I don't want you guys to go bully anybody. That's not the type of thing that I stand for. But I also don't stand for weak-minded individuals trying to tear people down, and that's never something I'm going to support. So I see this as an opportunity to show people what you can decide to be in life. Do you want to be a weak-minded person, or do you want to be a person who's trying to get better? Do you want to criticize everyone and every little thing that they're doing all the time? Because what's that going to do to you? It's going to make you the same thing as what you're criticizing people of, just wasting your time. So I highly recommend on the internet, guys, it's easy to waste your time, scroll around, hate on people, comment here, scrutinize this, scrutinize that. But what do you want to do? Do you want to scrutinize people, or do you want to do something with your life? I'll let y'all decide. Have a good night.
Most importantly, he gives background context of this same person known as Lex, where apparently they have actually been responding to Doug a lot and kind of just degrading him, as many people do in the Call of Duty scene. But again, you got to remember, this is an alleged Activision employee, so it's a bit of a different circumstance compared to like a teenage hater. And Doug has plenty of haters compared to an actual employee at Activision, right? Like there's different bounds there. For context, like I
why do you make that pass when the guy's riding right open and you just
at that point? I expect this behavior from a 15-year-old internet troll, not a 27-year-old grown-up, but I'm the bully, right? As they respond to him saying, at some point, you got to start being realistic. No one asked. You're not making it into the league, Doug. And no, he says as he cries in bed at night, all around tweets where Doug is talking about Call of Duty, getting in the league, his inspirational stuff he usually talks about. And I'm just here reading it for all of you guys to see what you think about this topic. I think, as per usual, sometimes I'm against him, sometimes I'm with him. I got to go Team Doug on this one. If you're an Activision employee, I don't know why you would even risk replying to someone, especially like Censored, where you know if there's any guy who's going to respond and highlight you, it's going to be Censored, you know? And maybe that's just me. What do you guys think about this? Doug Censor Martin versus Activision employee. What a great way to start the day. Enjoy yourselves, hydrate, all right? I'll see you back here sometime soon.
Teammates available. They are making headway. Really, they need a goal. With time not on their side. Goalkeeper dealt with it. Bodies forward, and the break looks on.
This is the sound of a $1,000 microphone. It's smooth, it's clear, but it's not super crisp or doesn't have a whole lot of presence. It's not super boomy. And that's a good thing. In fact, when I compared this microphone to the $250 version of it that I typically recommend as a budget microphone, 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. You'd be forgiven for thinking the out-of-the-box settings actually sound a little bit better on that cheaper microphone, because it's already tuned to sound great out of the box, whereas this microphone is meant to give you a little bit of analog flavoring, a little bit of that intangible tube amplifier sound, but still be smooth and kind of raw, so to speak, to play with and mold and craft to your heart's content. This is the Lewitt Pure Tube, and it is a tube condenser microphone. It connects to this dedicated power supply with a dual XLR connector and then runs to my normal audio recorder or audio interface or whatever. Lewitt has one of those we'll talk about in a moment. And it produces this just rich, natural sound that's also incredibly detailed and revealing of every little mouth sound and whatever, if you want it to be. And it's pretty crazy. Again, for background sound rejection, it's actually doing a good job. I've got 2 noisy computers, including a noisy server right off screen here. I can make some noises around here. It still does a great job despite being a condenser, but it's all about that pure analog vocal sound. And if you're looking to build a studio setup with a voiceover booth or have some dedicated, voiceover.
Are you kidding me?
This is the kind of microphone you go with. Now, this is the knock.
That's why. Okay. I hear you. What? Is that how it sounds? Whoa. What are we on? Let's go to Scarlet. Okay. What? Why the fuck are you on Scarlet speakers? Okay. I'm an idiot. Let's go there. you fucking kidding me? How is that the microphone? Hello? Hello? What is going on right now with this thing? How is that keep getting switched back to that fucking as the microphone? Okay, now let's check this. Let's go here. Let's go here, go here. Hello? Okay. Now that's way better. But we got a lot of background interference. Hello. Okay. Go down a little bit. That sounds all right. Well, okay. Maybe that's what's been going on. It's all fucked up like that. Holy fuck. Well, let's hope that at least let's go in here. Advanced properties. Wait, let me go here. Turn the listen off in this. Up. Here, go into fuck microphone and output. Hello. Check, check. Yeah. Well, that ain't bad. Okay. I mean, I like that sound actually better than I like the sound that I had. Check. Check, check. Check. Hey! Alright, that's fucking good. Woo! Yeah, I love it. Okay, that's good. Take that. But I wish that that sound was a sound that it just naturally had in Windows, but it doesn't. But it's okay. Microphone. Monitor off. Okay. Hello. Check. Hello? Oh, okay, yeah. You working. What the fuck? God damn that motherfucker. Let's close that thing. Close this thing. Go back. Play one game of World of Warships. Then we gotta go back to some spy shit. Who are the spies? Oh, look at this fucking futuristic. How's that cool? Look, I don't really agree with all of those mic assessments. Okay.
Down version, 1/4 of the price ish of the LCT 1040 I covered the last year, which was an incredible microphone, and we'll go on and compare it here. 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky, 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. The difference being, as far as I can tell, this is probably just the straight tube setting from that microphone, but that microphone has multiple different tube settings, as well as the FET condenser built in, so you have so many different options for how you flavor your sound and capturing both the standard FET sound and the tube sound at the same time, which is a completely different tier of production or vocal booth settings that you might want. So this is kind of the knocked down version. The only close to $1,000 microphone I have to compare is my Sennheiser MKH416 shotgun mic that I typically use at the setup. Now the angle's a little bit awkward with the distances, but it's a completely different microphone. It is still used in some voiceover booths, as Mike Delgadio often shows, but it is a shotgun microphone, rather than, you know, a dedicated condenser mic right in your face. Because I don't have a Neumann or any other real microphone to compare to that isn't from Lewitt, I went ahead and sent the A/B test of the LTT440 Pure, the $250 microphone, versus this microphone to a few of my friends who I trust their ears for audio judging, and this is what they had to say about the difference, which more or less matches what I think. I think if you're looking for, you know, a cheap, easy condenser microphone where you can plug it in, get a great sound out of it, and maybe just tweak it a little, the LCT440 is going to be what you want. I mean, and if you're looking at a microphone with a budget of $250, you're probably not looking at a $1,000 microphone anyway. But that difference comes in what you want to do with that sound. With something like this, I'm capturing it in 32-bit float so that we have complete, you know, audio headroom. I just hit the chord. Complete audio headroom with regards to processing, with regards to crafting the sound and everything. Whereas that cheaper microphone is built up and tuned to sound a specific way with a little bit of a presence boost and a little bit of lower end boost, but it has a little bit more boominess with the proximity effect. Where if I get on this, it smooths it. I like to describe it as like with camera terms of rolling off the highlights. It kind of does that with the bass response on the tube microphone, and that's kind of the joys of the analog tube mics. Is more modern mics have just like effectively more contrast, like with images. I'm gonna keep making that analogy. Like they have the contrast and the saturation, you know, a little bit more punchy and whatever. Whereas analog, really tuned, you know, tube mics like this with really nice smooth sound have everything kind of rolled off. The higher end detail isn't as clear or crisp. It doesn't have that really sharp crispness yet, but you can work with that in post. It doesn't have the super boomy bass, if that's what you want. It does have a warm, rich sound to it, but it's not super boomy. So then you can work with that and tweak it as you want in post as well. Whereas a microphone that's already tuned to be kind of punchy and in your face is a lot harder to tame those frequencies and to bring it back without just making the microphone sound weird, which is something I run into with every microphone I cover because I have a naturally kind of lower register boomier voice and a little bit of a nasally one. Microphones that kind of emphasize that out of the box end up sounding a little funky as I try to tame those frequencies. Whereas a mic like this, I can just craft the sound exactly. Lewitt also released what might be my favorite audio interface that has released in a very long time. Now this has released quite a while ago. I'm very behind on these reviews. I've covered why that is with regards to my audio reviews before. But I wanted to go ahead and get these videos out to you because these things are still awesome. This is the Lewitt Connect 6. It's a USB audio interface. But this takes everything like the Go XLR, for the most part, or the Elgato Wave XLR interface is kind of brought to the table with regards to multi-track USB audio devices, cleaner preamps, onboard DSP, which the Wavelength doesn't have on this, and so on, and brings it to 11. So this doesn't have the onboard faders or the voice shader or anything that's going on. But what it has is very high quality preamps, and you get two of them. A big complaint things like the Wave XLR and the XLR, but two XLR or quarter-inch inputs that you can map and control processing, gain, everything independently. We've got 1/4 inch jacks for your speaker outputs, which I've been begging for on more of these streamer-oriented gear for a long time, as well as a 3.5mm jack, which you can use for speakers, for extra outputs to route to other computers if you want, whatever. You have those dedicated outputs independent from two completely separate headphone outputs that you can manage separately too. You've got a 1/4 inch on number 2 and a 3.5mm on number 1, and you can use those independently as well. Then you have another 3.5mm jack along with 2 more USB-C ports, 3 more technically. One is for your computer, and if you're just running a single computer setup, that one plug is all you need. The other one is for mobile devices, or it's iOS, Android if you get it working, and so on, or a second PC. And then you have a dedicated power plug if you're running it just a mobile device, presumably you need a little bit more power than perhaps you need over the bus. And then you have a 3.5mm aux input. And the beauty of all of this is in the routing that is controlled both physically on the device as well as in the software. The software, it's called Lewitt Control Center, is very reminiscent UI-wise or UX-wise to PreSonus's Universal Control Suite. It's just something about it just very much resembles that in terms of layout for me. But you get, on Windows, you get 3 output tracks over USB that you can route audio to Windows Sound Manager. So you've got 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. On Mac, you only seem to get a stereo output on your standard audio device. Like, controlling audio outputs on Mac is a little different, although that was over ACL, which would be fine. But on Windows, you get those 3 separate devices that you can route your music to, your game sound separately from, your voice chat separately from. So when you're streaming, you can mix all of that a little bit better in your stream, either in the software or by adding your devices to OBS, which is really cool. So you got those 3 virtual devices that you can route your sound from your existing computer to mix and manage. You have an entire separate stereo input that you can get from a second PC, which is freaking rad. I have been begging for dual USB host interface for a long time, and they only started showing up this year. That is incredible for a mobile device if you want to do like calls or something. I think the real game here is second PC. That shows up as a separate input that you can do what you want and mix and stuff separately, as well as the stereo 3.5 mil aux input is its own separate input that does not interfere with USB that you can mix and manage separately. And then you get 2 submixes output. I would prefer 3 for a variety of different reasons that we'll get into later, but you do get to manage your headphone outputs a little bit more independently. So just having 2 is totally fine. You do get an A mix and a B mix, which you can control the levels for independently, and you can control the levels of each individual source as they go to that A or B mix independently as well, which is freaking awesome. You also have this giant knob, which spins very nicely on the front here and clicks in, and clicking in allows you to adjust the input levels for 1 and 2, your headphone volume level for output 1 and 2, your overall mix levels for A and B2. So you have 6 controls that you can do on the front here without any fade. These are so many features packed in the powerhouse of an audio interface. This thing is the most thoughtful interface I have ever seen, without being a mixer. Now there are other devices like the Rodecaster Duo that I'm going to be taking a look at too. That is a mixer. It is more designed for mixing, it has more physical and digital I/O, and it has faders and everything like that. This has mixing functionality, but it's still designed to be an isolated audio. So they are different categories of products.
Suck on the
You want
dick,
something that
bitch.
has
Just
more flexibility
fuck
and more features and whatever, but you'll need a mixer which takes up more space. Whereas this is an interface that's mostly supposed to stay small enough. I realize there's a lot of crossover between products. It gets a little confusing to segment them. But this thing rules, and I am super stoked that we are getting more devices like this. As I mentioned, there are a lot more that have come out this year with these kind of features that I'm stoked to continue taking a look at. One major issue that I did run into was Discord. The Connect 6 does not seem to work with Discord on Mac. You see I have it selected here, and every time I tried to use it for my D&D nights and things like that, I had to switch audio interfaces, and I assumed I just did something wrong when I was recording it, but this is just always true. If I turn down input sensitivity so that it is always active, and we start talking, hello, it just completely cuts out. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. And this has been...
You got you.
There's been multiple reboots and whatever, and it still sounds like this. But I'm over the moon with this gear. Like, audio gear is getting so good now, there is no excuse to not have good audio in your content. Now, whether you should be buying a $1,000 microphone or not, I'll leave it to the audio comparisons for you to judge. But whew, there's a lot of good options these days, and you're going to be hearing a lot of voiceover on this stuff. If you're still not sure what to buy, keep in mind that what you buy doesn't always matter. Your technique and the content you're producing matters most. Gear is always secondary. Go check out this video if you want to learn more about mic technique and how to optimize that. And go check out my new shop where you can get my OBS tutorial course and other assets that I've been releasing over at glitch.mov. And remember to be kind. Rewind.
So, Ben, to the outside world, it appeared that Burning Man was a bit of a disaster. A downpour that is a little bit unprecedented turned into a mud cake fest, apparently. But we don't know because we weren't on the ground, but you were. You were on that muddy ground. What happened?
That's why I did it. I went to Burning Man just so I could be there to report exclusively for you guys and, a bunch of partying and stuff, whatever. Side note. It was wild. This is my third burn. We talked about it before I went. And this was unlike any ever. There's never been this much rain at Burning Man. And it freaked people out. It was wild. I went to bed after sunrise. I woke up with my blanket wet and it raining inside of my shift pod, which is like a glorified big tent. And I threw the blanket off, went back to bed, and woke up at 2 a.m. with the power out in my tent and with about an inch and a half of rain and mud on the whole floor of my tent, where my e-bike battery was, where my fridge battery was sitting, where all my clothes were sitting. So it created quite a nightmare, and I walked outside eventually after about 24 hours sequestered inside my ship pod, and it felt like Armageddon out there. It felt very intense. It was mud everywhere, thick mud. You would step in it and your boots would just get stuck like quick drying concrete. And every step you would take, it would lift enormous amounts of mud. A lot of people would put like socks or trash bags on top of their boots so it wouldn't stick as much, but I did not want to fall. So I just went straight boots, and the boots were about like 30, 40 pounds each step lifting my, not great for my old man knees, but it did not stop the experience for me. A lot of people sort of failed what Burning Man is supposed to be, the radical self-reliance. Some people had to leave, I get it, and some just got scared and bailed. There was a lot of talk of rationing food, of supplies being short, of people not knowing what to do for food and drink. But I wasn't worried about it. I had enough nuts in my tent alone to feed my whole camp probably for a week, so I wasn't too worried about it. And I stayed, and we trudged through the mud like on Saturday night, trudged right through it, and walked about a half a mile. It took about an hour to a party and just danced all night and then trudged back, and it was incredibly difficult to get there and to get back, but worth it.
What kind of drugs were you on to make the experience bearable? Everyone's wondering. Let's just get right to it.
I will tell you, Anna, I was not sober a lot of the time, but I was sober a lot of the time too, you know. I was the first comedian in Burning Man history to headline Burning Man, and so I did a set on Tuesday night before the storm, then did another set on Saturday after the storm. And so I had my wits about me some of the time, but you know, I also enjoyed indulging the vibes, and the vibes